Welcome, ladies and germs, to ProBots 2025 Season 1, Round of 8. I'm your host, Reckon, and we have eliminated 8, that's counted, 8 bots through the group stage to bring you the best of the best. This is it. No hold bar, single elimination, scrap pile all the way up. This is it. We're at the round of 8 after this. Semifinals and grand finals. You guys have stuck it with us so long. I am so happy here to be bringing you more and more ProBot action. And we couldn't have done this without you. So I'm here to introduce our casters, Ender Sword and Laughing Games.
Hello, hello.
Hello, gentlemen. We're back together, putting together ProBot's round of 8. Please tell me you are as excited as I am for these games.
I am very excited. I like when things are round, but there's 8 of them. It's like an octagon.
Yes.
I don't know what to do with you, Ender, so I don't know how to approach you. I just want to have fun, and you just want to damper everything.
It is it is fun. The MMA is based on this. It's a round 8-sided thing.
The octagon?
Yeah.
Laughing Games, how about you? Let's screw Ender. So let's about you.
I'm doing good, and yes, I'm very excited for these bots. We don't have a bad matchup today, which is very exciting. They're all going to be great matchups, and then soon there shall be 4. So
yeah,
I'm looking forward to it.
One of the things though is, and for those of you who don't know, Laughing Games casts these like every day -1.
Every day -1. I'm never gonna let that one down.
And he does fantastic. Like he covers the ladder of the bots, like the bots on the ladder, and some of their more eclectic strategies. I think you just recently covered. Who was it? I think I saw you just released something. Was it this week with Nuke? Was it a Nuke?
Yeah, I think so.
Or was that last week? That might have been last week. Sorry,
it's hard to keep track because I record the videos usually a couple weeks in advance.
So
by the time they upload them, I've forgotten what I recorded.
This guy knows how to YouTube. This guy knows how to YouTube.
Yeah, I've just been slowly building up a backlog for when I go away, and now it's about a month in advance. So, yes,
envious.
But no, there is quite a spread of the bot games on the ladder. So. The bots may be a little bit more dialed in for the specific matchups today. I do see we have 4 bots that were updated. I believe 1 in each matchup. Oh, pardon me. No, not 1 in each matchup.
No.
We've got, 4 bots that were updated. So it's going to be exciting to see what they've cooked up.
Yeah, and those of you who don't know, we before this round of 8, the bot authors did have an opportunity to update, and not all of them took that advantage. Some of them decided, you know what? F it, my bot is already good enough. So, you know, you have your stalwarts who just don't they don't need to do anything. They just think they're gonna win without it. So
it's definitely some confidence from them. So it's gonna be very exciting, the matchups that we do have. Like 2 incredible Terran bots for match number 1, Ketroc and MicroMachine.
Oh, before we get into that, let's tell them how this works. Rectangles, please.
How does it work? So rectangles, 2 rectangles together could theoretically be an octagon.
All these squares.
But basically, over on the left-hand side, we have the left rectangle, which was the group stage. That is a past tense rectangle at this point. We started with 4 groups of 4. The best 2 bots out of those groups got out in a double elimination format to advance to the right rectangle, which is our bracketed rectangle of death. And we are currently in the quarterfinals of that rectangle, where we're going to see a best of 3s for each of these. That updated, but it didn't change anything. And we went to this bracket now, where we're going to have MicroMachine facing Ketroc in the top small rectangle to seek to advance to the mid-tier rectangle against the winner of changeling Zozo. And then Xena and BenBot, and of course negativeZero, which doesn't quite fit in the rectangle, neither does MicroMachine, against Caninana.
Absolutely beautiful. And of course, I think one day, after every ProBots, I kind of take like a moment where I kind of reassess and like, what can we change, what can we improve, what went well, what didn't. And I think maybe I'll just make like a shapeless broadcast, so there are no shapes. at all. No
Try-
rectangles, squares, triangles. Just blobs and
Just
you know,
various polyhedrons.
We'll just be floating in the
Yeah.
ether or something.
Yeah.
the matrix. You know,
That's
just,
it. Everything will have a shape.
that's it. We just
Where
beam a
where
shape
there are
around.
points, there shall be shapes.
We will see. We shall see.
Yeah.
And what you will see, guys, those of you who are out there, be sure you know what to do. I hate to nag you, but you know where that subscribe, like, and all those buttons are. You got to hit that. But more importantly, actually, you should give it a try. You should actually, if you have either, there's two of it. There's two types of you. There are you, those of you who code and you want to try something cool, but you don't know StarCraft. Don't worry. You can learn it. But you can, and you got that advantage. And then there's those of you who love StarCraft and you want to make something that like plays better than you, and you don't know how to code. Either which way, those barriers are a non-factor because Laughing Games, I imagine you're not a professional coder by any means.
Oh God, no. I am very much not a professional coder, but I can speak that you can get a bot going pretty quickly. As long as you have a little bit of computer knowledge, but
Yeah,
yes, I highly recommend it. It's a fun challenge, and then you two can maybe make a bot that can cheese out Drekins on the ladder.
Oh God, trust me. And I've actually coded a lot of I'm waiting till these maps get fixed, and we'll don't worry. I'm ready. I'm coming for you. So don't worry. Since I'm just waiting for these maps getting fixed right now, we're actually working on the new patch maps to get them up and running. I just actually released a new one to the community to test out. So hopefully by next ProBots, you guys will get to see the latest patch. These bots play in the latest patch, and so will be a big refresher in the fall for you guys to see what these bots and the bot lovers are still, even though our maps are not fully ready, they're still playing on it. So people are cooking up. They're cooking. These bots, some of these cooks, they're definitely Eris and our changeling is cooking. negativeZero, they're cooking. So in the fall, a lot of this stuff that you see will probably be obsolete. No shield battery overcharge. I'm thinking also the cyclones are pretty weird if I remember correctly. So
the cyclones are pretty good on the new patch from what I've seen so far.
Yeah, I have to code that in. But yeah, if you saw that stuff, there's a template for you, less than 30 minutes you can get up. It's in the description below. And then the last thing I'll let you guys know, I actually do a newsletter, even though that Endersword had somehow pegged me as like the Unabomber, but it's not true. I actually
it's true. It's not Unabomber. It's not a left-leaning one. He's extreme right. It's more like
you triggered people in the comments. Hey, don't listen, or we're not going to talk about any of that stuff.
Hey, isn't that engagement if you trigger people in the comments?
I didn't look, but now I'm encouraged. I feel encouraged.
I had people ask me all sorts of questions. No,
I'm emboldened.
No. Anyways, so my newsletter, actually, I break down some of the things that we see in ProBots and talk about how you can use them in your own bot. Last time I did Phantom Bot and broke down how he does his optimization systems and what you can do to use it in your own bot. So stuff like that, I kind of take apart and try to find a way for to make your bot a little bit better. So less destruction, more creation. So other than that, let's talk about a little bit of predictions. I guess we don't have it in front of us, but let's talk about overall predictions for this half. Where do you guys see it going? MicroMachine Ketroc.
Oh, I think that's a coin flip, to be honest, because like it depends. I think really on the data and the builds that Ketroc selects, because Ketroc has some very good builds. Like late game it will beat MicroMachine, but sometimes it goes for builds in the early game that makes it very vulnerable to pushes and things that potentially MicroMachine could go for. So it's I think it really depends on the builds. I know that's a cop-out answer, like, oh, it depends how it depends how it plays out, how it's going to play out, but I it's so tough to call. I'd say Ketroc just because it's been updated more recently, I think, but it's still very difficult to call.
I believe Ketroc actually did not receive an update.
Not this time, but it has been
in general. Oh, yes, in general.
But like this year, versus MicroMachine. Yeah,
indeed. Endersword, Ketroc.
I kind of have the same leaning. I think it's probably Ketroc. if it's at all got some code to know what it should be doing against MicroMachine. But yeah, neither of them super actively updated at the moment, and MicroMachine not at all. So yeah, but again, it's always that MicroMachine's default play can completely smoke you if you're not doing the right thing. And so it's if Ketroc goes for late game, if we see a lot of Ravens and things like that, I think we're going to be fine for Ketroc. But if it tries to, I don't know, one base all in or something, then maybe not.
And then changeling Zozo.
Oh gosh, that is.
Anderson, we'll start with you. We'll go reverse.
So yeah, this one's even more up in the air because you're get a random player against a Zozo that is known to cheese a lot. However, it may not, because it's facing a random, and had a little trouble with Xena on that. So it may be it doesn't know exactly how to cheese when it's facing a random, and it doesn't know what it's playing yet. So it may default to the more macro things, which I think is in favor of changeling. So we'll see. But then it also depends which races you get as changeling. Let's say Eris is a much larger celestial body than either Phobos or Deimos. The bigger of those two is only about 16 kilometers in diameter. Compared to,
is that true?
They're both moons of Mars, but they're very small. Like Earth's moon is like 2,100 kilometers across, but I forget which one's bigger. I think Deimos is like 16, and the other one is 9. So they're very small.
Tiny
they're very
moons.
small. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's something I did not know. I for whatever reason I just assumed they were
and based
all the
on
same.
that fact, I am I am making my prediction.
All right, and then laughing games.
Oh gosh, it's so difficult to predict.
No, you're gonna choose something this time.
It will be changeling 2-1, I think.
All right.
I think Zozo's gonna get a cheese win, but I think changeling will triumph.
All right. Cool. Awesome. And all right, so I'm gonna let you guys take us away and bring us to our first game.
Okay, let's do it.
Indeed. So yeah, as mentioned, we are going to get a TVT to kick things off. MicroMachine, a very, very long-term participant in this. We've got both of these listed as 9 appearances, but it's almost like we just go back to the point that we arbitrarily decided. I think MicroMachine really has like 17, like whatever the beginning was, he's been there from the beginning. So basically is aggressive with good macro. So it's constant aggression, but you're going to see a lot of macro and expansion behind it, and adapts well to what the enemy is doing. And it's constantly just kind of doing new things, transitioning to the next things. And the weakness, as we mentioned, the only thing about MicroMachine that's changed is the portrait representing it, basically over the years, and it hasn't fundamentally changed in quite a while. Has a combat simulator. It is pretty good at deciding when to engage or not. You'll see that sometimes come up in the chat in the game where it's trying to make a assessment of its own supply, the enemy supply, and then you'll get retreats and attacks called out. And nothing additional other than MicroMachine is French.
Short and sweet. Okay, so second up, we have got Ketroc by Ketroc. Safe, macro-oriented, fan of Ravens. Ketroc is a bot that has many, many builds, and that's why it's so interesting to watch. You're not really sure what it's going to go for. Weaknesses: aggression, harassment, and Eris, which we're not going to see in this match, but potentially later on in the tournament. Everything coded from scratch, so it won't share noticeable tendencies with other bots. Ketroc is a Java bot, right?
Yeah.
And if I get time, this season's focus will try to include drop, harass, and anti-human strategies for humans versus bots.
I don't know if he's had that time, because he said that last season too.
Hasn't had time to update the note. But Ketroc is a very fun bot to play against if you have ever tried to play versus them, as it like trying to defend its banshees and stuff
Yeah.
is just very difficult.
Yes, quite active, and we've got Ketroc's past championship listed there. But MicroMachine is I believe, 3-time past champion, but it's been a while, but still obviously performing quite well. And we're going to be kicking things off on Thunderbird, which occasionally gives that mid-path guarded by minerals sort of section. Some bots have trouble with that. I don't think either of these particularly well with that sort of thing.
No, I don't think so. Then they'll both probably play pretty respectfully on this map. I'm excited to see how fast they expand in this game, because sometimes Ketroc will stay on one base, sometimes it'll go for like 10.
Yes. Yeah, quite true. It can variety of things. It can also end up making 20 orbitals or 20 planetaries.
Yeah.
It's decides various things. So hopping in here now. Maybe. We're just going to look at the freeze frame. There we go.
Okay.
MicroMachine. Ketroc.
So we've got the bunker out front here for Ketroc. On the defensive side is going to chase that Reaper away to take the longer path.
Yeah, the Reaper does get into the main base though, so Ketroc will have to pull some of those Marines in to deal with it, as it does get a nice scout. Is it going to get that SCV? It's very cornered though, but the Reaper of MicroMachine is pretty much second to none, so it may actually get out of there. However, it does jump back up the cliff and does not escape, so good behavior programmed into Ketroc to pull those Marines back if something does bypass the bunker.
Yeah, I think it's well positioned here too, that we've seen this actually exploited on MicroMachine before, that its Reapers act a particular way and when faced with static defense, and there's a certain like range that it won't go, so you can kind of use something like that to completely zone it out. And it just will not walk past that, and it won't deviate from its normal path. Like, it could just go around and get to where it wants to go, but it won't. There, you see on the mini map that it actually returned there. It will sneak through the corner to check the third. From there, it may deviate. But yeah, like it could have, once it got there, it could have just jumped up again, but it didn't.
Yeah, it gave up trying to get into the main. Or is it that supply depot why it could...
Yeah, I wondered that, whether it thinks there's a wall or something, but... And there was a tank up there too, but I don't think it knew that.
Bot pathing is always interesting, because you've got the default StarCraft pathing, and then you've got the bot author's own work put in there. So...
We used to have a bot in the past that really, really exploited very computery things. It would like throw a random pylon out kind of in the middle of the map, but like the specific location of that would bait or change the pathing of something, or just like break the bot basically. So it was doing very, very specific things of like, if I do this exactly here, then you're just not going to work, or this will prompt you into some crazy defense that for something that's never going to happen.
There definitely is ways to do that when it comes to exploiting bots' movements and their leash range on their units, that kind of thing. Now, the first Banshee for Ketroc does show up to the natural of MicroMachine. SCVs are doing that bunker mining. However, a turret is just building to help defend them. Ketroc does actually target down that turret. We get a scan from MicroMachine, pretty well placed, but not enough to kill off the Banshee. So it will get into the main. Is there a turret on the way there? Yes, there is. So the Banshee does go down. A really nice cleanup with that second turret for MicroMachine. And on Ketroc's side of the map, we did have, I think it was 4 command centers building at once. So Ketroc is being extremely greedy, and this was what I was kind of alluding to at the start of the game. If it doesn't place safe enough, MicroMachine could potentially get some damage done, but the tank does get a really nice shot off on those early Marines from MicroMachine. And then there's also the Cyclones too.
Yeah, and this group, most of them dying before the rest of the army gets there, cancels the offensive, as you can see in the chat there. So it was making a calculation this was a decent time to go, but given that everything was really strewn out, it wasn't all there. And then you get this at least regrouping. It looks like he's moving out potentially again. But the timing not as strong as it was 30 seconds ago.
No, MicroMachine does have a tank about to finish up for itself, so it could potentially get to this base and siege up. We also see now that it has seen this third base, it's altered its attack path to come from the south. Ketroc does have 2 tanks in position, though. MicroMachine moves forward. It's got its own Viking in the sky to fight Ketroc's. The Marines stim in, though. They see a little bit more units, and they retreat. So great defense from Ketroc. And so far, it has got away with that greed. At the same time, MicroMachine does have its own third base. It's got a slight worker lead presently. That won't last for long, though, as now Ketroc is building 4 at a time.
Indeed. It looks like he really wants to go, but it's just not getting over there. The tank is coming this time, and the army is going in single file. This is a little more conventional of an army than we tend to see from MicroMachine a lot of the time. There's not Cyclones with it, not like a lot of Banshees or anything with it. He's got some building.
Yeah. Now, we do have the Red Terran trying to push in, but it's still not happening. The one tank moves forward, but seeing as how Ketroc controls the skies, things are looking very good for the Blue Terran, as it has effectively got away with that quick 4th base. It only has 3 on location, but still it's got a very good economy, and MicroMachine just isn't as good in the late game. It's not preparing as much as Ketroc, which has, I don't know how many starport it's got, but it's got a lot already as that Banshee production and Viking production really gets going.
Yeah, it doesn't do the extreme version where Ketroc will get like 9 starports at some points to get up there. They're a tank in range of that gas, but Marines streaming into an already sieged line of tanks on the other side. Nice good shot as things pumped up.
Does survive. The cloak is actually forcing Ketroc's tanks to unsiege briefly. However, then a Raven comes on up for Ketroc. MicroMachine getting this gas is actually a big deal, as Ketroc still is presently just mining gas off 3 bases. So that is actually pretty good for the Red Terran, and it will slow down Ketroc's Banshee production, its Viking production. But that gas is now being rebuilt, and the 4th base is about to get online for Ketroc with a new command center building there.
Yeah, and really that one forward tank did quite a good job by itself. Like that seemed like it should have been cleared out of there a lot quicker, but managed to get a lot of good shots off. But army supply closer to even now, still a tiny bit in MicroMachine's favor, but the workers on Ketroc's side of things.
Yeah, things have evened out quite a bit. We do have Banshee harassment from Ketroc at MicroMachine's natural, I believe. However, those turrets, the Vikings are on it to push that away. As MicroMachine gets up its own 4th base on location, it does pick off that Banshee, which is nice. Ketroc prints a chat tag saying that Banshee harass has ended. Maybe because it didn't get enough damage done there. That's one of the very cool things about Ketroc's spot. It won't just throw good after bad. And yeah, we have MicroMachine looking to poke forward once again with that good tank positioning.
Yeah, back in a good spot. There's a base building behind it as well that he may be able to take out, and getting into a good place here against the workers in the mineral line. And Ketroc's army not in position. Here come a lot of Banshees, or a lot of Vikings, sorry, but that's not what you want. Lead in the charge.
Yeah, MicroMachine does have its own nice Viking count. I'd be curious to see what it is on each side presently, but it actually does get that command center, so that's a really nice pickoff and a blow to Ketroc's economy. Looks like that base on the left just isn't building anymore as MicroMachine killed the SCV. It got some nice damage done, and now it's going to go back home.
Yeah, both economies kicking pretty well. As we mentioned, MicroMachine also never stops building its own, despite focusing on the aggression. Ketroc getting the high-sec auto-tracking there as well, which helps make some positions defensible. Interestingly, his army has now leapfrogged to that bottom, or the middle left position, basically, which may be a good spot for MicroMachine to re-engage. Doesn't look like he's retaken the fourth yet.
Yeah, Ketroc has plenty of command centers. It is building a fifth, but it's not replaced the one that it's lost. MicroMachine does move forward, gets its tank sieged up quite timely, and it does pick off, I think, one of Ketroc's tanks there. No, it's still alive in the red, but then it gets it. Ketroc only has one tank really defending this command center presently, as the Vikings are fighting on closer to Ketroc's natural. Ketroc's Vikings are trying to respond to this. MicroMachine has a ton of Cyclones on the ground, though. And yeah, it's a Viking versus Viking fight with lots going on underneath on the ground.
Yeah, doing this part of it away from where the tanks were set up allowed those Cyclones to get in and really help with the damage from below. And we still haven't moved from over here where a PF is coming up. But yeah, it feels like MicroMachine may have at least broken through the extra layers of the economy here, and we'll be shutting down these extra bases.
Yeah, it's a really great follow-up to that first attack, and MicroMachine, yeah, kills that base that was rebuilt. That planetary on the left, southern left, I think, is burning down. It's still trading out with Vikings, which it can do, as it's definitely got a better economy than Ketroc right now. Not that Ketroc is on a terrible economy. It does still have that base towards the 12 o'clock position, but maybe
that
not
has
for
been
long.
Found now. Yeah, main army is moving up there. And while that bottom base has survived, it turned into a PF, there's no mining happening there, and it would be hard to transfer anything. You can see SCVs working their way down, but there is
a Banshee
harassment
rolls
in the
on
area.
up too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the great thing about MicroMachine. It doesn't just attack one location.
Yeah.
It will just move its units independently and then potentially hit you in multiple places. And that's exactly what it's done here to Ketroc, as it's pressuring this 12 o'clock base with the Vikings in the sky, the tanks, and then the Cyclones to help zone out Ketroc's Vikings. And Ketroc has just been bleeding out units. It's never been able to really hit that 200 supply mark, where it can control the skies and then capitalize on a high Banshee count, as it's just trading out not effectively here, it seems, as MicroMachine's Vikings are doing well enough, keeping Ketroc back from saving this base.
Yeah, it's often a struggle to try and control the sky, but in this game it feels like MicroMachines control the ground effectively enough that the Cyclones are a real deterrent about for the Vikings to come in and really commit to any fight. If they get too close, they're just hit from ground and air and have to back off.
Yeah, and I think we're reaching almost a snowball point now where Ketroc has just got so few units, it's not going to be able to rally a good enough defense against what MicroMachine has, and MicroMachine is not a bot that just goes home and sits.
No.
It will move on to the next base once it's killed this 12 o'clock one, and yeah, really great timing from the Red Terran bot, as Ketroc was almost at that point where it would have started taking the better trades with a high Banshee, high Viking count, but MicroMachine's attack was just incredibly well executed.
Yeah, very well positioned. You could see, particularly when it attacked that fifth base on the side middle there, the positioning of the tanks in the initial engagement was bang on where the line should be drawn. Like, it was exactly the position they needed to engage. And then also the way that the map works out, where it ended up kind of flanking on that fourth base location, where the Vikings and Cyclones came in from the top while the tanks were occupying from the bottom, just was a really good, effective way to hit.
Yeah, Ketroc is still alive. It's got a tank. It's got a Viking. MicroMachine. Well, it's got multiple Vikings. MicroMachine is losing some of them as it pushes forward. But now here comes the bulk of the force looking to go for the kill. And I think it's just a matter of time until Ketroc goes down here. Look at all those cyclones from MicroMachine. It hasn't been updated, but it's definitely ready for the new patch.
Yeah, it's constantly made those, regardless of whether they work well or not. They at least do something. And yeah, there's just no answer for this. Really, there's been no ground presence for Ketroc since the initial army got cleared out, which often is part of Ketroc's strategy, like let the army get traded out, and then I'm going to replace only with Ravens and Banshees.
Yeah.
But in this case, where it got traded out, but there's still a huge ground army, there's really no way to deal with that.
Yeah, and this was just incredibly well executed by MicroMachine. We saw how good its unit control was and it actually looked superior in the unit control compared to Ketroc, as it wasn't an easy push to pull off, but it was able to do that. And now it's just a matter of time of cleaning up Ketroc, and look at the map. MicroMachine has taken all the bases pretty much.
Yeah, just constantly keeps going. It's the fundamental almost ethos of MicroMachine, and it kind of speaks to it in its own chat logs during the game, is basically, if I have any advantage, I should be attacking. And that's kind of it. It almost views attack as simply an on or off position, and based on supply. And if I think that I can push an advantage, I'm just on, and I don't even reconsider it. I'm just, unless something happens, I'm just attacking.
Yeah, that was really well done by MicroMachine with its aggression, like you said. And like, while it's not the bot that has the best late game when you think of late game bots, like Ketroc does have better late game, but MicroMachine just does so much work in the early to mid game that even it's good enough late game is able to triumph like it did there. And so well done by MicroMachine.
Indeed. So we are going to go on to Automaton for the next match. And like you mentioned before, everything, the way Ketroc chooses to open can make a really big difference in what the outcome's going to be. In this one, while it felt like he got away with it, going for a really, really greedy opening there, eventually he never got kind of a foot forward. It was always kind of back foot for most of the game. Also, MicroMachine doing a really good job of shutting down the early Banshee harassment, getting a couple kills there and not allowing, again, not getting itself on the defensive or back foot, had the ability to move out. So see if Ketroc chooses something a little less greedy this time, or maybe just goes on the defense, tries to absorb it and get to that late game.
Yeah, we'll see. I did notice one thing, maybe a slight inefficiency from Ketroc, because like it did have 4 command centers, but then it still built the next command center on location for its 4th base instead of just having the other one there.
Yeah.
So it's like little efficiencies like that maybe could have made a difference. But anyway, let's get into the next one.
Maybe. I don't know. We might be. There we go.
Okay.
MicroMachine. Ketroc.
Okay, so we do have some shenanigans starting out this match, as MicroMachine goes for a second Rax, going to proxy Ketroc and try and get some early game damage done. I didn't see the chat tags as far as what the openers were, but
Yeah, I know it has a few proxy style things. It actually does against humans, often a proxy marauder sort of thing. But I don't think that's, well, that is a tech lab.
it is a
So
tech lab.
yeah,
Yeah, how
yeah.
about
So
that?
it may be exactly that.
And it is a Marauder with
Yeah.
concussive shell. It's been a while since I've seen this one from
Yeah.
MicroMachine, but
Usually it would only be versus Protoss.
yeah,
So I don't know if I've seen it against the Terran.
it's a very strong build, that's for sure. Ketroc does have that bunker building up at the front, which is very important, but at some point, there is enough Marauders to kill a bunker potentially if MicroMachine is smart with its engagements. Now, Ketroc has a factory on the way behind this, but it will be totally blindsided by this cheese in the sense that it doesn't know that it's coming. It's got that general bunker defense, but for example, the bunkers at the natural, it takes a long time for SCVs to get down there to repair potentially. And yeah, very exciting that MicroMachine is busting out such an aggressive build.
Yeah, is kind of nice. So we'll have the impact in a moment here, as two Marauders are pretty well timed out to arrive at the same time. It's coming down from two different angles.
Okay,
One
there.
shot off, will regroup. Okay, reveal themselves before being really ready to go here. So maybe want to wait for 4. And maybe, again, just the bunker is, yeah, the decider here that, okay, obviously we need a few.
MicroMachine just did it? I think it might have canceled some more. Either that or they both just finished up the extra Marauders, but it does have a command center on the way behind this. So it's not totally all in or anything like that. 4 Marauders are just hanging out on the outskirts of this bunker. Ketroc does have a tank about to finish up, though. It's going to take the maximum amount of time to get down to that bunker since the factory is built all the way to the north. But MicroMachine hasn't gone for it yet.
Yeah, May when there's 6 here, but and there is no SCV that's moved down preemptively or anything. So still some opportunity to jump on this, but that window is certainly closing.
Yeah, the window has closed with that tank getting sieged on up. And unless MicroMachine like waits for stim or something, which it is researching, now, and goes with like 20 Marauders or something.
Yeah.
It is a possibility. Sometimes bots do goofy things like that. For example, Ketroc's bot might just be running on like general opening defensive code. It doesn't seem like it's scrambling defensively to handle this. Oh, MicroMachine thinks about going for it, but then it moves forward, gets a bit more vision, sees there's a tank, and pulls back even further.
Yeah, well, the creep forward here. Yeah.
It's fighting itself. It's like, I want to go for it, but...
Yeah, the Viking there in front to give the extra vision definitely makes this a lot more deadly and hard to walk into. I always think there was a moment there where the 4 Marauders could just run forward, snipe the tank, accept that, and move on. But now this is too hard to even walk into.
Yeah, and this is quite painful for MicroMachine. The flip-flopping, it's one of the most common faults in a bot.
Yeah.
And clearly it's not an easy thing to handle because such a developed bot like MicroMachine is still having an issue like this, where it's kind of forgetting how dangerous that position is. Looks like the Red Terran does elect to go on home with those Marauders as we cross the No, it doesn't? Oh, it started walking back north,
yeah,
but
it did.
It wants to go back in.
It felt like that was the commit home, but apparently not. I think it was just walking towards its friend.
Oh no! How many Marauders have died so far? It's got to be like 10 at this point. Oh, it's going to be a lot more in a moment. It stims forward.
Oh, but then doesn't even commit. If you're doing that, you at least get to snipe that tank down and then leave. Yeah, 10 after that push.
Okay, now we've got MicroMachine going more so into its bread and butter. We've got a Marine, a tank on the way, Reapers being built. And then we have got an even economic situation as Ketroc is building starports off 2 bases. So we do still have a game here. MicroMachine is a very good bot. It will transition behind this. There's a little bit of Banshee harassment, I think, going on at MicroMachine's natural.
Yeah, we see the flashes there. And a Raven coming down to reinforce that position. It looks like that is still going on in the top right. And given that they're all Marauders, obviously nothing shoots up. Is our observer? There we go. So there's even a turret there, but it is down in the bottom part of the base, so losing everything. There are some Marines, but just no way to engage with this yet. And yeah, probably no energy for a scan or anything. You can see it took some hits, but it's still fine. Cloak will run out in a moment.
Yeah, that's Ketroc, though, so there's probably another Banshee on the way.
Okay. There, we'll get cleaned up, but yeah, 15 kills. I love that it does give the low report on its death. 15 kills there for 15 supply and 750 minerals, so that's either Marines or SCVs or some mix.
Okay. MicroMachine still poking and scouting Ketroc. As far as the base counts go, it's not like there's a huge lead, but the worker difference is real, and MicroMachine is just playing from behind at this point, which is very scary going up against Ketroc's late game.
Yeah, definitely not a position you want to be in there.
Reaper does find an SCV, seemingly going to build a fourth base for Ketroc. So that's maybe a nice little delay there. More Banshees are being produced by Ketroc off this heavy starport play. MicroMachine does have anti-air, though. Like, it's got a lot of Cyclones again. It's got a Raven as well to help reveal those Banshees. But as far as having enough stuff to attack, like it did in the previous game, it's a long way away from that.
Yeah, I feel like we're going to get this army move across, but as soon as it becomes kind of aware of what the position is or the army count is for Ketroc, it will abort. But no, here's the stem in, though. It's going to take a lot of damage before doing that. But yeah, here's the pullback. It didn't commit as soon as it was aware. It tried to retreat, but it's way too late by then.
Yeah, and MicroMachine is going to need a miracle to potentially win this fight. It doesn't have enough anti-air here to deal with the Banshees. A single Cyclone is coming in, but it loses all its tanks in that attack. It loses its Viking as well. Ketroc is just really dominating this game with the successful defense of that cheese. And we see the power in those safe openings, like that bunker early on, the tank to follow it up. It's not like Ketroc panicked or anything, or let us know it was doing anything special as far as the defense goes. It was just a good general defensive opening that was able to hold off that cheese. So really well done by Ketroc, and now MicroMachine is scrambling to catch up, building its third base. But Ketroc is also a bot that isn't afraid to get aggressive when it feels things are going good. And now it's moving out.
Yeah, and we'll see if Ketroc does go the whole way. And probably can just end this now. Particularly with not enough ability to really deal with a lot of very full energy Banshees.
Yes, the armory is being worked on. There's a few Vikings out for MicroMachine, but there's a lot of Vikings for Ketroc trailing this attack. The Cyclones on the ground could maybe help push this back, but then there's the tanks to counter them. Yeah. Ketroc has its own Marines to buffer, and it's building 3 command centers behind this. So the Red Terran bot is in trouble.
Yeah, very unlike the first game. The ground support here for Ketroc is going to be good enough to prevent the Cyclones from stopping the Banshees, which pretty much have free reign as long as they stay away from turrets, and eventually that won't be a problem either.
Yeah,
there's a Raven, but it'll be picked off too.
I mean, Ketroc does retreat upon losing the air battle, it looks like, since it's building so many, or built so many Ravens anyway. That may have cut into its Viking count. It does have 5 Vikings building at a time, though, behind this, so it will retake control of the skies. And MicroMachine is just working with peanuts compared to what Ketroc has economically. And, yeah, the Red Terran bot is going to need some really good trades if it's going to play this one out and potentially survive.
Yeah, and given that it's trading a lot with just turrets that cost energy, that's not the best pickups.
No, it's not. Generally, overall, I do think Ketroc Spot's Viking control is better than that of MicroMachines as well. Like, it prioritizes them more and really groups them up, whereas I think MicroMachine is a bit more fast and loose with those Vikings. And yeah, it's just still trying to push out to shut down this push.
Yeah.
And it's constantly skirmishing, as MicroMachine does so well, but the trades are not that good here, and Ketroc is getting closer and closer to that 200 supply mark.
Yeah, also getting closer to the third base there to try and shut that down completely, where we're going to have a big drop-off in MicroMachine's income.
Yeah, we have MicroMachine running a Marine forward, trying to pick off that tank. However, Ketroc has brought SCVs to repair these units. The army supply difference is quite significant. MicroMachine's been trying to keep up with the Viking production, but it just can't on this economy, and it hasn't been trading that well with them either. So there's nothing going for MicroMachine in this game really at this point, and Ketroc just needs to whittle it down until there's nothing left.
Yeah, feels like we're going to hit that Viking one-shot level 2, and that's usually a big turning point once you can dive in and kill an individual target and get out immediately. But yeah, the turrets here aiding the push-up. He's really, really good at that economic use. Like, there's a lot of decision-making on when to throw one turret, when to throw like 4.
Yes.
It doesn't just spam them all. It's very selective in when it's doing that.
Ketroc aware of how good its situation is. A little bit of smack talk there. You gotta love when bots have a bit of character. But yeah, what a great start to this first best of 3, having things going to be tied up 1-1.
Yeah, eventually gonna get the final push in now. Yeah, just Banshees, once they actually turn and fire, there's so much DPS in them too.
Oh yeah.
Like, as soon as they're comfortable.
Yeah, and the way Ketroc moves them is incredibly effective. Like, it just is always, it trades out with them well enough. That's like the whole design of a bot. In StarCraft 2, as a player, you can't really build Banshees and make them work because they just stack up, they die easily. But under this bot's control, it makes great use of them just as like a general unit in its army, where we don't really see that done by humans. And yeah, well done as Ketroc slowly cleans things up.
Yeah, still being careful and quite patient as it does do it. It could probably just mass auto turret at this point and end it, but slow up the ramp here. The single tank basically is what's holding it all back. Is there even detection of this? Is there a Raven in that pack? Yeah, there is. Yeah.
Okay, and there's a lot of Ravens in Ketroc's pack as
turrets.
it throws down a ton of turrets and gets that win.
The SCV's waiting for something to happen to save
Waiting,
them.
waiting for better times.
Yeah. But alas, nothing left to be done here. 0 minerals for MicroMachine. But still, I don't know, Ketroc's army acting scared of the SCVs for whatever reason. We'll
I guess
surround them now.
It just goes to show sometimes programming. It's like, hey, an SCV has 1 supply each. There's like 40 supply I gotta be wary of.
Yeah.
Depends if you program your bot to track those certain things. What does MicroMachine have left? A refinery?
Yeah, I think
Oh, apparently
so.
it's got more than that refinery. Oh, a factory.
Oh, floating building. Yeah.
Oh, and it lands to stay alive.
The dance, the burn.
Okay, GG.
Indeed. So there we go. We are tied up at 1-1. So obviously openings and so on, very important in this one, as we predicted. Aren't we both geniuses, really? You said it first, so really you. But yeah, this is kind of what we thought. The opening really matters, although I don't think I predicted that it was going to open with the Marauder opening against Terran.
Yeah.
I knew it when I saw it, but that's usually not a TBT thing that pulls out too often.
A bit unfortunate for MicroMachine that it chose that build, because like it won a macro game with a mid game push. I do expect MicroMachine will go back to just that general macro opening. I don't think it should go for Marauder Cheese in game 3. And yeah, really excited to see how this one wraps on up. We are going into Abyssal Reef for game number 3.
Yeah, indeed. Definitely being underwater certainly changes things. Stim should just make you like float or something. I don't know what. But
yeah,
it's very little mechanics difference when you're underwater apparently. But it's cool when you die. Apparently things that are denser when alive, it must actually be a sign that the soul has left your body.
Yeah, they instantly float up.
Yeah. So that 20, what is it supposed to be? 21 grams, 28 grams, whatever it's supposed to be. There was a Will Smith movie about it, I think.
Oh, was there?
I think there was a movie called, was it Will Smith? There's a movie called like 28 grams or something like that, but it was meant to be, that's what people, rumor has, they weighed a loss in mass when people die. Apparently, I don't think that's true, but that's what it was, and there's a movie on that concept.
MicroMachine. Ketroc.
Okay, so a TVT with a respectful macro opening as MicroMachine goes for the quick command center. Ketroc sticks with what it's been doing all series long with a nice safe bunker at the front, and I believe the building's walled so no Reaper can get in on the high ground. And yes, that is nice to see. MicroMachine does play it safe, building the command center in its main base. Yeah. It's not the biggest deal, but particularly against a bot like Ketroc, it's not a bad idea, as Ketroc does cheese sometimes too.
Yeah, definitely just a little added safety can get there, and then of course the Reaper goes out and will get a sense of what's going on and know when it sees that there bunker that there's probably not going to be cheese coming your way or anything.
Okay. Abyssal Reef is a map where you can get across the map fairly quickly, which could be a good thing, could be a bad thing for MicroMachine, depending on what it's attacking into. Because if it just tries to path up this ramp or something, if Ketroc's waiting up there with a siege tank, it could prove quite difficult. At the same time, if it can just potentially get around like it did in game number 1, where it saw there was a third base, changed its attack path accordingly. If it does that, again, it may just be able to break Ketroc's third once more. We do already have a tank on the way for both of these bots.
Yeah, and I think the defensive position of the main and natural here, because of that bunker and the tanks reinforcing, will be pretty good. But then the less defensible thirds and fourth are potentially going to be a problem if MicroMachine's the one with map control.
Yeah, we do get Ketroc building that third or that natural base quite late, all things considered. Going for a bunker and a tank really slows down your expansion, but Ketroc thrives in the later game, so as long as it can get there. Yes, then we do have MicroMachine getting up a Cyclone Stim already on the way. But it is still scouting with these Reapers constantly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's looking around for anything. You could see it go over and check the third to check the timing of anything there. And when it didn't see anything, it's now gone on a tour for hidden bases or hidden proxy locations to see if anything is up.
Yeah, very good scouting behavior. It's impressive to build a bot that not only scouts, but then adapts its play based on what it sees. Like, it's easy enough to program your bot to send a worker around the map or a reaper around the map, but to actually make it change its attack based on what base your opponent is occupying is very impressive. Now, we do still have that build up. MicroMachine does have a second starport on the way and actually just finishing up, so it may have a high Viking count potentially to aid a tank push in a little bit here. And yeah, it does have a tech lab building as well, so we could see a Raven to help shut down those Banshees.
Yeah, army is moving out here now too. The other option, although it tends to do both at once, is of course MicroMachine can take its own bases. Yeah, so,
Very important scout as
Yeah.
MicroMachine sees the Banshee coming on in. It did already have the eBay building, so we should see turrets start up pretty much right away. High-sec auto tracking starts being researched. One turret's on the way. MicroMachine, meanwhile, is trying to push up that impossible-to-break ramp of Ketroc, as bots attacking up ramps without vision tends not to work very well.
Now, the fact that he attacked or even just showed himself as opposed to attack kind of turned that Banshee around for a moment, which is given time for the turrets to get up in the mineral line. There comes the activated cloak. Turrets, though, not like exactly in the middle. It's way behind here, so it's giving a pocket.
Is that? I wonder how MicroMachine calculates that turret placement. Is it like the bot author's picking that decision, or some math or something?
Yeah.
Because the positions definitely are not perfect. However, this turret looks like it's in a fine spot.
That one's better. Yeah, at least spot there. I assume it's kind of more based on the idea that you're going to be entering from the edges of the map, as opposed to just flying through your base like you actually did.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That seems where they're positioned, but yeah.
Okay, we do have Ketroc going for the alternate third base. This is usually a fifth base or a sixth base that gets taken here on Abyssal Reef. However, it's very, very exposed compared to those other base locations. MicroMachine is coming in. It sees there's a tank. It's going to stim on top of it, and it does fully commit. So it grabs that one tank. There is two more tanks in the back line. So the Blue Terran does hold on as Ketroc builds that base on location. Taking quite a risk there, but hanging on.
Yeah, so seeing that, grabbing it, but of course it wasn't aware at the time of the army behind it to reinforce things, but making the correct decision to disengage and go home. And MicroMachine on its own side taking the more standard third.
Yeah, as far as base timing goes, though, that's quite all right for Ketroc.
Yeah.
Going to be 3 bases to 3 bases. The Blue Terran does have starports now pumping out Banshees, which could very well threaten the third of MicroMachine. A turret has already built at that new third base location, which it's very good that MicroMachine builds that beforehand. A lot of bot authors would take the simple route and just go, hey, I've finished a base. Now build some static defense there. MicroMachine building that ahead of time will help deal with that Banshee.
Yeah, we can see it was trying to sneak in behind there, but had to loop back out. We'll go after the building worker yet again.
Yeah, that is some nice work the Banshee's getting done, forcing out a scan, and it does make it into the main base. It may be revealed by that turret, though, and it does get killed. Still, though, some nice denial on MicroMachine's economy, slowing it down. And there's no signs of such a successful attack as in game number 1 for MicroMachine so far. And oh, look at this.
Yeah, this is pretty aggressive. The army just coming across by itself, and will try and siege up this location to prevent it from ever getting there.
This could potentially be a cancel. Now, we do have a ridiculously high Viking count for MicroMachine, actually able to push away Ketroc's assault as it realizes it doesn't have air control, so it may lose a tank or a few units on the retreat. MicroMachine wants to engage those enemy Vikings as it's got the numbers.
Yeah, so does push that back for the moment, but Ketroc is going to attempt to re-engage.
Cyclones moving forward for MicroMachine, some Marines as well. However, it does turn around. Flying over an auto turret of Ketroc costs it a Viking. And yeah, we have Ketroc building its own Vikings. TVT is similar in bot matches at times in which whichever bot has more Vikings controls the game, basically.
Yeah, very true. That's always been the key to controlling the reef is airships, of course. Here come a pretty big wave of Banshees that had not really revealed themselves until now. They do run into some Cyclones and a scan, so we'll have to back off. But the Vikings of MicroMachine trying to make their way over, but a Cyclone will push at least one back and pick it off.
Yeah, this is kind of the inverse to game number 1, where Ketroc had its Vikings punished by Cyclones. Now MicroMachine is being punished with that. We do have Ketroc. It's up at 4, getting up a 5th base from what I can see on the mini-map, whereas MicroMachine is just getting up its 4th. Things are looking quite good for Ketroc in this match.
Yeah, definitely. That Banshee wave is just really looking to get onto targets and go to town. Yeah, you need a high Viking count on MicroMachine side to keep this low. And really, as long as nothing is threatening the Ketroc air dominance, it's going to continue to make Ravens and Banshees instead of more Vikings, which is then going to be harder and harder to deal with.
Yes, we do have MicroMachine with some Vikings trying to hunt down the Banshees, but it's almost rather futile trying to kill a single Banshee when there's like 15 on the map.
Yeah.
So that's quite difficult for the Red Terran to overcome. There is a Raven helping reveal the Banshees, which is quite important as MicroMachine tries to secure up this 4th base, but it's lacking that Raven on location. There's also a tank shooting from the low ground from Ketroc. Really nice positioning there. And yeah, MicroMachine may have its 4th base canceled. That is a big, big deal.
Yeah, that would be quite large. It is going to unsiege there. It does finish and is able to at least lift off. The position of things like just the rocks and ridges on this really make this sort of play work out well.
Yeah, MicroMachine tries to push towards Ketroc. Maybe that's what it needs in order to regain momentum in this match. However, it's a bit of an uphill battle. We do have tanks moving forward, though, sieging up. Ketrocs are also sieged up defensively. These bots are skirmishing in the middle of the map. That's where Cyclones can thrive on both sides. Ravens are throwing down auto turrets constantly. However, MicroMachine is getting dangerously close towards this base of Ketroc.
Yeah, and if it does get into a good position, then that is definitely helpful. And it does look like Ketroc's Ravens are pretty low on energy at this point.
Yeah, they're using the auto turrets pretty much as often as they can, but there's just not that critical mass where you can throw one down every, I don't know, second or so.
Yeah.
Still, though, Ketroc does hold on. It's also expanding at a ridiculous rate as it starts to take literally all the other bases on the map -1. And that is very impressive.
MicroMachine now going into a battle cruiser a little bit with the Yamato cannon about to be done. That could definitely change the landscape of this one. Battleships are particularly battle cruisers are particularly anchory thing that your army can just kind of rally around their location. But it is Ketroc kind of going on the offense here, and I don't know that we're ever going to get to that sort of thing because he also still has to continue to make Vikings.
Yes, that is correct. Like, battle cruisers, I'm not sure are going to be a saving grace here for MicroMachine. It's holding steady at its supply mark. It's doing a good job defending for now, but Ketroc is being quite aggressive. We do have tank versus tank. MicroMachine's tank loses that due to vision. And yeah, this is looking a little dicey for the Red Terran.
Yeah, and there's now enough Ravens that there is just kind of a constant turret drop happening, and that's so it's so hard to calculate too. Again, as a bot, like suddenly the defensive capability of your enemy can just instantly increase.
Yeah. It's not an easy thing to program bots to take engagements like this. As we see Ketroc's bot doing a good job inching forward with these tanks, MicroMachine sees that there's a planetary being built where it wanted to expand to, so it's going to fly the base over towards the right. But there's also another planetary there, I believe.
Yeah.
And so things are looking quite rough for the Red Terran, as Ketroc just has all the resources, all the map, and it is taking better trades than its opponent. MicroMachine will need a miracle at this point. It is building a lot of Vikings to maybe control the skies, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough here.
Yeah, it's going to run into the same thing of it can control the sky, kind of, or like try to, but then the moment it thinks it can deal with the Vikings, then the Ravens are right there
Exactly, yeah.
underneath it that are going to undercut everything, and you can't even hit those back.
Yeah, and the programming of Ketroc's bot is very good here when it comes to using the Ravens, not just defensively, but aggressively. We see the Ravens popping out, throwing down a turret, getting some shots off, and that's effectively free damage as long as the Raven stays alive. MicroMachine is slowly falling in supply here.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a bleed out. That part of Ketroc's thing, you have to then be really, really decisive to take bases out because it's a big commitment in terms of like the Raven energy to do that. But it will slowly choke out your opponent. He's not going to expand from here, so eventually you're going to starve to death. And Ketroc is just very patient and will sometimes just allow that to happen.
Yes, it doesn't push recklessly or anything like that. We do have MicroMachine still somehow staying alive. It may get a couple of tanks here, although it's not committing enough on top of them, so they're actually being repaired. Look at this fleet of Ketroc as it comes forward with its own huge Viking count, and will slap MicroMachine out of the skies. And then there's Ravens coming in to back those up. We do have a very nice upgrade lead as well on the Vikings for Ketroc, and that sort of late game prowess is showing for the Blue Terran bot.
Yeah, very true. Just, good control, keeping everything in formation. There's really no way out. The one thing that's kind of always been a little true for Terran is there's not like an asymmetrical way to claw yourself back. Like in a lot of matchups, it's like, oh, I just need to hit like a good big fungal, or I need to hit, there's something that's like area of effect or something, other than if someone just completely like zones out for a minute and you drop a nuke on them. There's no equivalent sort of thing.
Yeah, you're definitely right about that. Like, you basically just need to start out playing your opponent in order to come back in a TVT, which is very difficult to do when your opponent has planetaries all around the map. It's not like MicroMachine is all of a sudden going to start taking better trades than Ketroc.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, here the base is finally being whittled down. There's no real mining there happening anyway now, but that will be taken out despite the best efforts of that one little SCV.
It really is trying. However, auto turrets getting thrown down, going to bring that command center down, and that is the first domino that will lead to the eventual downfall of MicroMachine.
Indeed. And just kind of no way out, and a lot of things won't engage. I think we're going to get a very similar dance to we had in the last game, where there's just hesitance of Ketroc to overcommit, but just take it inch by inch as we go here.
Oh yeah, and that's just a Ketroc bot thing. Like, it can have won a game at the 10-minute mark, but I'll click on a replay for it, and it'll be a 30-minute replay, and it's like, oh, okay. It just likes playing with its food almost, but it's the safe way, and it gets results. So there's definitely no problem with that. And so Ketroc will be the first bot to advance to the round of 4.
Indeed it shall. It just may take another 10 minutes. We can probably do the fast forwarding now. Just as there's not much left to contest here.
Yeah, it's a very, very slow death, but it is
Yeah.
it is confirmed dead. I think, barring a crash or something from Ketroc,
Yeah.
which it's
Which
not
it
something
does fake in chat at least.
that- yeah, we may actually get the mule messages in this
Yeah.
game.
Yeah. We get the gas into Bitcoin comment. Oh, it did freeze, but that's us, I think.
I do believe
Yeah.
so. Yeah, the
Yeah.
fast forwarding just
We're repixelating.
craters the stream, but
Yeah.
yes, well done. Ketroc even taking MicroMachine's bases, which is very comical. But slowly winning.
Indeed. Yeah. Slow indeed is its method. One day it will own the Abyssal Reef. And MicroMachine, for its part too, doesn't just give up. It continues to act as if it has some sort of way out of this.
Yeah.
We've seen, that's actually something I noticed that I commented early on in like this whole AI thing. Some bots do still have, but way more used to have, like GG out conditions.
Yeah, but it's just not worth it.
It's not worth it. One, you have to spend time coding that to begin with, but two, and it is once you've coded that in, you've given me a second win condition.
Exactly. Yeah. I've cast games on my channel where it's just like, oh, this bot's totally won this game or something, and then it's like, oh nope, GG.
Exactly.
Because bots don't handle scrappy situations well. There's the victory though, as Ketroc does take it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is interesting to see the difference. Like, for example, Eris has GG conditions. I believe negativeZero does. So
Yeah.
the two top bots do GG out.
Yeah.
But
I think they're pretty strict. I know that I've seen some in the past that are like, if I lose all my command centers, GG out, but that's not usually a good decision. Or
No.
not. Like that's not a good condition at all. And then again, especially once I know that, once your bot has that code, then I can dive on your stuff. I can lose a base race, but I know which buildings I have to count.
Oh, exactly.
And you're giving basically someone a way to hack your conditions.
Uh-huh.
Someone else's I know was like 0 workers. If I'm down to 0 workers, quit.
Yeah, there is like the argument from a logistical point of view, like, oh, having your bot GG out saves server time for AI Arena, which is something that's important, but it's like, we're not gonna fault any bot author who doesn't make their bot GG. Like,
exactly.
It's a little bit of fast forwarding. It's not a big deal. Here we have the replay between these two bots in what was quite a good series. A lot of back and forth. Ketroc, though, the bot with the superior late game, came out on top.
Indeed. Yeah. So
Okay.
it's good at the slow push. Now we're going to go into a match that will not be like that one. Very unlikely anyway, where we're going to get random changeling bot, which is Eris, Phobos, and Deimos, up against typically cheesing bot, but lately not as much necessarily, and particularly against random, maybe not as much.
Yeah. It's very, very interesting because, like, changeling is the almost inevitable product of a team of bot authors that made 3 incredible bots.
Yeah.
And now they want to see how combining them does in a tournament environment. The weakness depends on what race. That pretty much says that.
Yeah, indeed. You want to be true champion, you must win as random. That's basically it. So I think it's going to be the quest for the first of that accomplishment. Strategy there, just listed as random, built on the Ares framework. Changeling uses many features such as combat and macro behaviors, placement solver, build, runner, etc., and is not hard-coded logic. But there is a lot of builds in there. Will basically spawn as one of the 3.
Okay, that is
Yeah.
interesting how it says changeling will either spawn as Eris, Deimos, or Phobos. That makes me think
Yeah.
that they did just kind of copy paste their bots.
Yeah.
Maybe I'd be interested to ask the bot authors like whether they have changed the races how they play, like to be more cheesy potentially for it being random or not, as far as maybe the build selection goes. But yes, we do have Zozo now. By Team Cheese. Focused on cheese strategies in the early game, Zozo often uses tactics like the Probe Rush and the Proxy Zealot Rush. Yes, it definitely does. Facing an opponent playing random as the weakness. I'm going to add another weakness in there just because I'm a jerk. It doesn't get Warp Gate. It's the best bot out there
true.
that refuses to research Warp Gate. Zozo was initially meant to be a simple sparring partner, a worker rush bot that would challenge with relentless probe attack. However, it has become unexpectedly effective, evolved into a standalone bot. Yes, it has evolved into a very good bot. I think it came like top 3 or 4 in the last SC2AI tournament, and it's had a fair few appearances in ProBots.
Yes, indeed. I mean, it always feels like there's a little bit of a cycle, is people develop, and then somebody reverts back to a really early cheese thing, and it dominates for a while, just because there hasn't been like that check against them for a while.
Yes, Zozo is the predator that keeps the ecosystem in check for sure.
Exactly.
We are going to have game number 1 on Interloper. A very interesting map as far as sort of some of the choke points and the walls and the pathing. We had an interesting scenario where Ketroc, I think it was last week, killed its own rocks to delay its cheese.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was excellent. If you haven't checked that out, go back and watch it because that was very impactful.
Yeah, but all right, let's get into it. Game number 1 in our second best of 3.
Changeling. Zozo.
Zozo is cheesing. It doesn't care what race it's against.
It's a good idea. It's a good idea in this matchup because I don't think you're necessarily going to win. In a macro game, it has been found, obviously, very quickly, but there are multiple pylons coming.
This is one ugly-looking gateway flower, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And Eris does give up, as I guess it says mission accomplished, or I'm too committed to defending this. It has yet to start a spawning pool, very notably.
Yeah, that is not promising.
No, the drone pull delaying the spawning pool, not killing the pylons. Now it cancels the hatchery when it's like 99% done. But yeah, that spawning pool is so far away.
Yeah. It's it doesn't bode well. We basically need instant. I mean, it's too late regardless with chronoing these out, but it would have to be instant, like 3 or 4 spine crawlers, and then somehow your drones protect them long enough to even get up. It's so long. Yeah,
I do find it quite comical how Zozo says its weakness is random, but it's willing to do this rush in any matchup. So it's like, well, if you do the gateway rush, it's fine every game as it works against every race. And now Eris is really on the defense. Definitely a bit of an oversight in Eris. It didn't start up the spines. I think it built a drone before building Zerglings here. It hasn't built any Zerglings. It's just fighting with the drones.
Roaches. We're going right into Roach, apparently.
It is some incredible drone micro, but at some point these drones do all run out of HP.
Yeah, that's an issue. You're trying to stall now for the queen. Doing a pretty good job. Can he finish
that
the
one
last
zealot is
here?
so low.
It's an issue. The queen can end it, but
and now
these
mining,
aren't really mining. Yeah.
Okay, the queen will pop out. One of the zealots does die. We are just seconds away from being able to fire up roaches, but there's no money for roaches. It literally does not have the money for a roach.
Yeah.
And so that is going to be Zozo cheesing its way into a lead in this series.
Yeah, no, you have to definitely understand. Well, one, the spawning pool is too late. There's no defense anyway. Once, if had been a little quicker, it's got to be multiple spine crawlers. And I think we've seen this before where people will try and get to the roach because roaches are pretty good against zealots. The problem is, it's just, one, it's obviously too late, and they just don't kill them fast enough. You've got someone making 3 zealots are coming in every 30 seconds. The roaches just can't even keep the number down quick enough. The zealots can just absolutely ignore them, and it's irrelevant. So that's the problem. And the burrow too, which you're like, oh, the burrow will keep the roaches alive. Yeah, but when they're underground, that's not when. It's just too much firepower. Zealots are way too much damage output.
Yeah, Eris or Changeling was dead.
Yeah.
I think a couple of little inefficiencies when it comes to responding to that cheese. It saw the cheese, but its response wasn't perfect.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah, it didn't act quickly. That has to be an instant spawning pool.
Yeah.
Instant cancel, instant spawning pool.
Exactly, yeah. The cancel being a big one. And then, delaying the spawning pool is just unacceptable in the face of a rush like that.
Exactly. Yeah. Who's the derpy Hydra head now? So we're going to be going on to Ephemeron next. Will Zozo pull the same sort of thing? It apparently seemed to do that regardless of race. And I don't know that. Against the zealots, there is a way for each race to defend, obviously, but you do have to react as soon as you see it. And then, of course, with other races, it may be a case that you don't even see it until it's too late. So I don't even know actually what tipped them off. Was it just a scouting drone that saw this? Because Zozo really does do it right in your face. It's not hidden at all.
I think it was a scout. Eris, all Team Eris's bots do usually scout with a worker early on. Around the bases for cheese specifically like that, but I think I think Changeling is just a little weak to cheese at times. The responses maybe aren't as optimized as they could be. So we'll see if it's going to be more of the same on Ephemeron, our second map.
Yeah, let's hop in and find out.
Changeling. Zozo.
Now this is the matchup I wanted to see. Phobos, Changeling's Terran, taking on Zozo. Oh man, it is off to a very, very quick start with that cheese. Going for in base against the Terran. That is one way to change this cheese so you don't have to worry about getting walled out. Just build it in your opponent's base.
Yeah, we've seen Zozo do that before. I'd love to. We saw kind of in the view there that the probe was just sitting in the shadow, visible, but he's on the exact end of visibility. But it was
the flower is complete. Now, Changeling's opening is kind of a natural counter to this.
Yes.
In the sense that it does have 2 racks. The problem is the first racks is being built on the other side of the map. It is building just a Marine from it since it doesn't have the gas for a Reaper yet. And Changeling is just building a depot right by the gateways. It's got a couple of idle SCVs, which isn't great in a situation like this, as you need every resource possible. Probably because they're trying to get to the pylon they cannot get to. And then there's no bunker either, which is a little concerning.
Yeah, that's not great. The real decision maker, and we've seen almost this exact situation play out before, the real decision maker is you have to have the wherewithal to know that that proxy barracks needs to attack, not come home.
Yes, but it is not
It
doing
will
that.
not do that. Yeah.
And now this one Marine has definitely got its hands full. As Zealots are coming after the Marine. The Marine was still trying to shoot the probe, though, so the Zealot gets right on top of it. And yeah, this is just dirty by Zozo, but hey, if it's dirty and it works, that is that's good. And I mean, Changeling is doing a good job, well, an okay job microing those Marines for a moment until it lost one. It does get one of the Zealots, but there's literally more Zealots than Marines, so it can't trade out 1-to-1.
Doesn't bode well, and you see the two behind the mineral line there just chasing some SCVs. Had he finished the wall at the ramp, you could actually have some Marines behind there protected, but he didn't get that off either. We're going to get a Hellion out, which is, that's obviously the best you could do, but it's not great.
I mean, the SCVs are doing a really good job keeping the Zealots busy.
Yeah.
So, and they're actually just running from the Zealots. They're not just trying to mine, and some of the SCVs are still mining too, which is the very impressive thing to realize that, hey, they're not going after all the SCVs, so don't run them all, just the ones that are actively being chased, have them keep moving. And this is allowing the Hellion to get some shots off. Marines are, well, there is like one Marine out still, but these SCVs are going down. We never had enough money for a second Hellion, though, which is quite problematic as that Zealot count swells.
That's it. It's just that thing I was talking about before the game of the speed of killing. It doesn't matter that this Hellion is invincible. The Hellion is able to kill one Zealot in the time it takes you to build 4.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make any difference. It's the fact that unless you get that to a critical mass number, it's just irrelevant.
Yeah, and just the choice, like Changeling had the money to build Reapers, but it did not do that. It switched gears from the proxy Reaper build it announced at the start of the cheese. Like, a Reaper is better than Marines for defending against proxy Zealots.
Yeah.
Because the Reaper can kite endlessly. Alternatively, it could have made one Reaper and sent it to the other side of the map and harassed endlessly.
Exactly.
To slow the flow of Zealots, but...
Yeah, because you really can't even sustain these 4 gateways. You can sustain like 3.5. And then, any damage you do to the workers on the other side, which would eventually be complete, because I don't think they either pull off and defend themselves, in which case they've lost all income, or they just die. And either way, and then you theoretically win in a base race.
Yeah.
Because nothing will ever catch the Reaper, and you can float one building and win.
So we have our victor of match number 2, record time series, probably. Well, not pro brushes, but very, very quick series, as Zozo is able to cheese out Changeling 2-0 with a little bit of an upset.
A little bit. Multiple time past champion, but not as Changeling.
No, not as Changeling. Yeah. But it took down their best.
It took down the Zerg.
Race,
so yeah, exactly. So there we have that one. So we have a long match and then short match to keep us on schedule, somewhat at least. And here comes. I do wonder, had he gotten the second Zealot here? Does that help? I don't. The spine still doesn't get up, but does maybe the queen get out?
Yeah, it's very like interesting to break down these cheeses. Yeah. Very short replay there.
Yeah.
But ladies and gentlemen, if you guys haven't already, click the like button on the stream. It's easy to ignore when someone asks for likes, but it does help spread the good word of bots. Click the like button, subscribe to the channel. There is a membership program as well if you do want to support ProBots. Yes.
Indeed. So we are cutting. Okay, we'll take a look at the bracket of what we're going to get when we come back. So Zozo, obviously, 2-0 against Changeling, and Ketroc with the tight 2-1 over MicroMachine. So we're going to get a Zozo-Ketroc matchup coming next week. And we've got, coming after the break, Xena against BenBot. I think that one will be pretty good. BenBot is another very patient Interesting one, but Xena is a good opponent there. And then negativeZero and Caninana will be an interesting one to close this out. So stick with us. We'll be back in a few minutes for part 2 of the evening.
Stay tuned.
Okay, and we're back, everybody. We're back. Welcome back to ProBots 2025, Season 1, Round of 8. We're back to the next half of our show. Me, Drekken, your host, and I'm back with Ender Sword and Laughing Games. Gentlemen.
Hello, hello.
Yo.
So those 2 games prior to us, pretty nutty, with Zozo doing the flower and
Right in the base.
pretty much.
In the base,
Yeah.
in your face.
The dirtiest cheese imaginable, like dirtiest in your face. Yeah, no beating around the bush on that one.
I feel that was like, I would say that was an upset. That's like a straight up real upset.
It does feel like it, especially I think in that case where it was how it was handled, particularly in the second game. You've got a proxied barracks out there. Had the correct decision been made with what you already have, you still could have won.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then just even in the match against the Zerg, taking down the supposed best race of that bot, and it just goes to show that Zozo is a very lethal cheeser, and it has optimized that build quite effectively. So
I was a little surprised at Changeling's response. I really thought it would have had a lot of anti-cheese responses that would be prepared for that. So I was a little surprised at the lackluster reply to that response. But I guess Zozo might be just the master. Or maybe I'm underselling Zozo's cheese.
It's a good cheese, but that still is not an excuse for the response. Like Zozo can't make you respond bad.
I mean, it's true, but Zozo is like the bot was updated prior to this patch, so there may have been changes to that build maybe to exploit the cheese response of say Eris and Phobos, because maybe it was where it like just put those buildings just out of range of the hatchery. It knew Eris would try and pull drones, but then maybe not cancel the hatchery or something, which led to the later response. So like Zozo was updated prior to this, so maybe they did do some refinement on that cheese.
And absolutely. So I won't stay too. I just wanted to do a little touch on MicroMachine and Ketroc, though that battle was actually, you know what? I thought it was gonna be 2-0, but we did get a 2-1, so fantastic with that. MicroMachine unupdated still holds it down. Still impressively.
Yeah, the definition of old but gold.
Yeah, old but gold. I love it. We'll actually maybe put that as like a moniker underneath it. Okay, but let's talk about what's coming up next, though. And before we do that, we'll give you, those of you who don't know, and obviously Laughing Games before the break gave you guys a preview. Obviously, like, subscribe, all that stuff. But I'm going to talk mainly about getting started with the template we have down. You can get started in 30 minutes, less than 30 minutes. You can get a bot up and running any race you choose. And if you want to go further, I got a guide that can go with it. So what's that saying? So easy, Laughing Games can do it, or something. I kid.
I am that is an accurate statement. No, I do enjoy checking out the guides and the streams that are done here, as like watching you program your bot, Drekken.
Yes, so.
It's fun to learn with you as you go about like working on PigBot. So
yeah, so that's for sure. So those of you who don't know, we're currently working on our main project, PigBot, and every Monday we do a little bit further as a group stream mob programming to build up and make our PigBot much stronger. So learning alongside is the right way, because I am actually still learning. There's a lot to explore, and those of you who've been following the Bits of Code series knows that I started originally with actually no coding knowledge at all, and I have to say thanks to also to a lot of the supportive people in the community, I have come, I would say, a very long way. I've learned a lot in, I would say, a very short period of time. So, and that actually goes to my newsletter, which I'll quickly plug, is that all the stuff I learn, I kind of condense and put it in a way that people can follow. So that's that. And yeah, let's talk about our upcoming games. Let's take a look at maybe our bracket, and we can just get a little preview. Xenaverse is BenBot, and negativeZero versus Caninana. Oof, jeez.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
good ones. Nothing weak here in our
These
round
are-
of 8.
These are going to be some really fun matches. Xena versus BenBot, another random bot versus a good macro bot. So sort of like the last series we had. Well, a cheesy bot versus a good macro bot. So that's going to be very exciting. Personally, I'm really excited for negativeZero versus Caninana, as they've had some great games lately.
And so let's do a little bit of predictions. Xena, BenBot, since you're already laughing games, let's start with you.
I think it's going to be 2-1 BenBot.
Ender Sword.
Yeah, I tend to, I think BenBot side too. I wouldn't be surprised in an actual 2-0 though as well. I mean, it'll depend a little on Xena race and things like that, but yeah, I don't know. I think if BenBot can, I think even the early bunkers might still be a problem.
I was going to say,
So,
are we thinking that the bunker contain is going to be too much for Xena, and then
Yeah,
Xena is just
might
going to
be. Yeah.
Okay. Laughing games.
Just for Xena BenBot, I think BenBot probably doesn't want a bunker contain. I think it probably just wants to
Maybe not,
hunker
maybe
down
not, yeah.
on its side of the map. I really do think BenBot should win this one. The bot author's active. Xena is a bot that hasn't been updated in a while, so like it's possible to look at all of Xena's cheesy builds and say, can my bot defend this?
Yeah.
So if BenBot's author has done their homework on Xena, they should be able to
We had
defend these
4
cheeses.
updates. Who was a part of that? So Changeling.
BenBot was updated.
Oh,
Yeah.
so it's BenBot, Changeling, Caninana, and Zozo. We actually didn't read any of their updates, but we can certainly. I'll leave it to you guys to check on it for the next one. But yeah, BenBot was actually updated this time around.
Yeah, BenBot actually mentions updates intended for negativeZero and Changeling, but it does say here improved initial base scouting against random, so that would be at play.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so predictions for negativeZero on Caninana, which I might say is like our match card for the night.
Oh gosh, it's a tough one. I'm really excited for it. Like I have cast some Caninana and negativeZero games lately, and Caninana has won some of them. Like it's done very well, which is funny because it seemed like negativeZero just crushed it on the old maps and the old patch. Caninana didn't receive an update. It just got plug and played on the new maps, which broke a lot of bots, but it's working perfectly, and it's actually like taking down negativeZero in some games. And to see that it's been updated specifically for this match, whereas negativeZero hasn't.
Yeah, I was about to comment on that.
I think it's going to be, let's say an upset 2-1 Caninana, just to be
spicy.
adventurous.
Sure.
So spicy.
In my prediction.
Ender Sword.
Well, I'll take the other side then and say, yeah, I'll say it'll be a 2-1, but it'll be a negative 2-1 for negativeZero.
Okay, fantastic. That I mean, one of you is going to be right, and we'll check back at it at the end of the night to see which one of it is you. But for now, I'll let you guys take it away for our first game.
Indeed. So yeah, we're first going to have that Xena versus BenBotBC match, and yeah, good point that you could basically just look at everything that Xena is capable of doing and counter design to that, or at least see like, can I withstand that if I do this one standard strategy, which BenBot may deploy. So Xena here is a random bot coded in Haskell. I think the only one I know of that is, or only one I can think of at least, is aggressive with occasional surprise macro, which has been themed on, it feels like, more lately. And adapting and evolving to late game, listed as a weakness, but that's not necessarily totally true now. I think that used to be a bigger weakness than it is now. And yeah, sophisticated resource manager and build planner that allows basically for a lot of these builds to be made and allows a lot of them not to break just because something little went wrong. And yeah, concave building micro. Yeah, the micro is not too bad. And this was also built from scratch. As again, I don't know that anyone else is using Haskell. So yeah, I'm not using any third-party frameworks.
Yeah, Xena is a very fun to watch random cheesy bot.
Yeah.
But it does have the capability to macro as well. Now, going up against BenBot, which says it tries to get into the late game, which with a lot of BCs, it's literally in the name.
Yeah.
So it it's gonna try and do that. Then it's saying we've got Mass, Thors, and Tempest as a weakness for BenBot. We could potentially see a Tempest rush from Xena. I don't think we'll see Thors or anything like that. It saves the game results and uses this info to decide which build order to use, but it can also select some builds specific to some opponents. So that's cool to see that it does have some options there. The bot has been created on December 27th, 2029, i.e. almost 5 years ago, and I have worked on it since then, saying that he makes updates fairly regularly, and he does. The bot author of BenBot is probably the most active bot author out there, and it's really shown as the bot has gotten better and better over time, and that just always makes it a treat to watch.
Indeed. I like that it was somebody got like a battle cruiser model for Christmas and then made a bot 2 days later to build them. So something like that. So yeah, it's definitely been one of the more like I said this last time, or 2 weeks ago, it's the most linearly improved bot that we have. Like it's just gotten linearly better since it was created.
Yeah. I didn't catch what rank it was, but okay, it did win ProBots 2024 Season 1, or it made it to the finals.
Finals, I think, at least, yeah.
Yeah, second place.
Yeah.
So it hasn't won one, but it has had some good results, and I think it definitely has the potential to make it far in this tournament. But Xena, much like Zozo, is one of those killers that could just eliminate you at any stage, so...
Yeah, so let's see if that happens. Hop in, find out what race Xena is today.
Xena. BenBotBC.
Okay, so BenBot is going for a proxy rack. Xena, though, pulling drones to handle that, is going to shut down the racks quite quickly at the expense of having a lot of those workers off the line, but it will actually kill that bunker. And then very nice touch from Xena. It sends the drones to mine in the natural, not in the main. So good efficiency there.
Yeah, pretty good there. I think interesting, like, little caveat to that is the barracks wasn't proxied, only the bunker was.
Yeah.
So BenBot now has this variation, which I think is new this season, that it doesn't necessarily, it sometimes proxies both, but it will sometimes do the barracks at home and I'll walk across sort of thing, which this Marine did not get the memo that things have changed, but there's an SCV coming with it, with the second one, to maybe try and reestablish, but further away.
Sometimes the follow-up to this cheese can be a little late if the first bunker does get shut down, but sometimes it can just be almost unexpected for the follow-up bunker, and it can still get up. So we'll see if BenBot can build one of those. However, there is a queen out that can definitely take on a couple of these Marines. And the queen's actually moving off of creep, which is a little risky to try and attack this. SCV comes forward. Queen begins shooting at it. Does it prioritize the Marine or the SCV? Looks like it does get the SCV, and the bunker will not get up.
Yeah, we're watching this now as a slideshow.
Yes,
instead. But
unfortunately.
okay, there maybe we're good again. But yeah, the Marines, one of them's still just firing away. The other ones will back off. And I
Yeah.
think that one of the big keys to BenBot doing this has always been the lack of any commitment to it. He's not cutting anything to
Mhm.
do this. He's not like switching or like putting himself in an all-in position to do it. It's just I'll send it in the moment it's bad. I give up immediately.
Yeah, and that is one of the big variations for the bot author because like to open with the safer option against a bot like Xena is very wise, and it's an easy adjustment in the build in order to improve, well, in order to be safe against those kind of cheeses and things. We now have BenBot with its natural command center done. It's building a tank. It will get a complete wall off, which is very wise against a bot like Xena, but man oh man, Xena's macro is just something to really behold. Like it defended that bunker with the drones, still built the third hatchery, and now it's already up to 50 workers just about.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It was going for a pretty economic strong opening there. And BenBot now, of course, on the defensive.
Yeah, we do have lots more drones being produced by Xena, as it will be fully saturated on 3 bases fairly quickly. It is making a few Zerglings here and there, but we are getting up a 4th base, and this is going to be really interesting because Xena is a bot that does need to kill BenBot here. Like, it needs to kill BenBot before it reaches, like, that 150-ish supply mark, because BenBot is, it's just a single race bot that has had a lot of work put into that late game, whereas Xena is not so specialized. However, it is going to potentially hit BenBot like a truck here. It's already up to 60 workers, going up to 70. The Roach Warren's on the way, double hatchery is on the way, and it's also killing some rocks because it hates rocks.
Yes, it's systematically taking them out here. We'll reposition to make sure that this is really dead.
How do you know a rock's dead?
It stops breathing.
Okay, so Xena does have more drones going up, saying 60 is not enough, 70 is not enough. We'll see if 80 is going to be enough. It does fire up +1 attack, and this is one of the really impressive things about Xena, is that it has got, people were talking about in the Discord the other day, like, bought, like, the max out challenge, and I like to bring up Xena's Roach all-ins.
Yeah.
Or its Roach, like 2 base Roach timings, because it just drones up so efficiently and then is able to max out so quickly. So it's going to be like a minute, maybe 2, before it's at 200 supply and is knocking at the door of BenBot.
So it is now knocking at the door of the 4th set of rocks that it has an absolute vendetta against.
Yeah, Xena is a serial rock killer at this point.
Yeah, wanted in 7 systems for Rockicide.
What's the profession that like geologists are in shambles?
Yeah. This one simple trick. Kill all rocks in the planet.
Okay, so we do have BenBot with this incredible wall, though. So while it's going to be working with less supply, less economy than its opponent, it does have the defender's advantage, and that is how that's BenBot's modus operandus a lot of the time, is just hold on, defend, and take good trades. Thunderbird is a very good map for that when you stay on 3 bases, because the 3rd is safe. You kind of have to go by the natural in order to break that. But that doesn't mean Xena isn't going to try, with a whopping 80 supply lead at this point.
Yeah, and there is, like, I think a BC out now, Yamato on the way. That's not great against Zerglings, but still, it's, decent to have a BC in the air. This simple kind of, like, double bunker, double Widow Mine, tank, like that sort of thing. If somebody screws up for a second, everything's gone.
Xena does decide to go for an attack. However, a lot of the units weren't across the map yet, so it's a little bit desynced. It's trying to break the wall here. No Hydras in the back dealing damage to these bunkers, but the first bunker does fall. The Zerg crashes the gates, And now BenBot is in trouble. It needs to repair these tanks to repair that one remaining bunker, but it does seemingly hold on. It loses 2 of the tanks, though.
Yeah, one bunker is still alive, but the Lings are in at least going after the workers here. Crucially, the Widow Mines get taken out.
Yeah, and the tanks.
Yeah. But the BC, invincible in the air.
The Liberator and another tank are set up at the 3rd base. BenBot, acting like nothing big happened, is trying to land a 4th. Xena, meanwhile, is going to be gearing up for round 2 as it approaches the 200 supply mark once again. And this time it's got some Roaches and Hydras in the back to help. The bunkers are being worked on. SCVs are being pulled this time. The BC actually takes a lot of damage and does go down thanks to the +1 attack advantage on those Hydras. They actually work on it quite quickly. But so far, the wall of BenBot is holding.
Yeah, the planetary on the other side really helpful. The bunker does go down there, but it doesn't look like they want to commit in.
The second bunker is so darn low right now, but Xena does back out. However, it won't be for long as it is still at maxed out supply, so it's replacing the units as quickly as it loses them. And looks like it does fall back, but BenBot's still alive.
Yeah, able to go at these. No detection up front, though. There's usually a turret with this. I don't know if there was this time and it got taken out, but I don't think I saw one.
Yeah, it might not just have got to that point yet. We do have the Zerg trying to crash the gates. Neural Parasite on the battle cruiser. That's very painful. Even targeting down the SCV is repairing the tank. That's going to cost BenBot a good amount of resources. The planetary is still distracting the Zerg army, but there's a follow-up Neural. BenBot doesn't get its BC back.
Yep, that is a big one to mix in there.
Another one.
Just going to chain it all the way home.
It's being walked across the map.
Oh,
it gets teleported. Finally gets released. Yeah. BenBot is trying to clear up this 4th base. It does have 2 extra command centers, and so far Xena hasn't done critical damage to slow the Terran down too much. It is up to 2 BCs, so the trades will get better. Xena is going to try and attack on in once again. At some point, I imagine it does have 2/2 upgrades, which is very nice. Hydra's getting on top of these BCs. That teleport has been used. So one battle cruiser goes down and gets neuraled and killed the second one. So now Xena is going to try and break this wall.
Yeah, still a little nervous to come in here now, but they're nice fungal up front. The bunkers are actually empty, but we'll take them a moment to realize that as they get ripped down, and the tanks are in trouble in the back, and no more BCs to save just yet. Or even en route.
Yeah, and BenBot's wall does fall. Xena's max out timing is just too much, even for a Turtle King like BenBot to hold against. Really well done by the Red Zerg, showing us that its macro is quite good, and that it's, it is a cheesy bot, but its Zerg race is its best macro race, having functionality for things like neural parasites from the infestors.
Yeah, and I think it's just well equipped to stop the kind of half cheeses that BenBots or contain, I guess, that BenBot starts with. Even just having the queen wander out is by virtue of being Zerg. It is enough to shut down like a follow-up bunker, and BenBot really relies on like stalling you for a moment so that it can get to where it wants to go, and Xena just was not having that.
Yeah, Xena dealt with the cheese. It's got very good early game cheese defense, which makes sense for a cheesy bot itself. And it's just an absolute killer. Well done.
We'll clear things up and look across the map and creep spread. Looking like a unvaccinated southern county.
You really are going for that controversial engagement, aren't you?
I want to bait the comments again. I went and looked, and
I'd like to see Drekken's face right now after that one. Well done by Xena. The random bot rolls its best race and then proceeds to roll over BenBot. So we'll get ready to go into game number 2, Ephemeron. Yeah, as we do load into this next match, make sure to click that like button if you guys haven't already. Leave a comment down below. Subscribe, all that good stuff. Spread the good word of bots. And, yeah.
Indeed. Yeah, so the real question is how will the racial makeup change this? We could easily get Zerg again, or we get something totally different. Does BenBot then kind of learn differently? Would it back off the bunker rush thinking this just lost, or does it acknowledge it's random? Maybe I can try again and I'll get a different result. So we'll see.
I don't think BenBot will change its strategy, to be honest. So, yeah, let's get into that game and see.
Maybe
not.
Either way. Oh, they restarted because they went up. Just putting in random clock numbers again.
Oh, they're just gaslighting us. Is that
it? That's exactly it. That's exactly it. They're punishing me for the comment. That sort of thing. Yeah, I don't know. I think the best bet from what I've seen from... I almost think the best bet is just TBT for BenBot.
Yeah, I think you're probably right on that one. Yeah, Xena, neither of its other races are as strong as its Zerg.
Yeah.
So can we see which race Xena got?
Maybe. Oh.
Xena. BenBotBC.
So we often do this, speculate on what the new random race is going to be, and then it's the same one. That's happened.
It seems
happened a lot.
It seems like Xena gets the better race more often than not.
Yeah.
It's better race. I shouldn't say the better race, but
Indeed.
Judging, actually, I'm not even going to say.
It's all subjective. Here we got the bunker coming yet again.
And it's been seen, so the drone train is on the way in order to kill this SCV, and Xena's micro is quite good at that. Shuts down the bunker. Oh man, this is looking like a bit of a repeat. This time though, BenBot has 2 racks, doesn't it? Or am I crazy? Yeah, it's got a second racks on the way this time. I don't know if it did that last game.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I have a sinking suspicion on something. Yeah, this definitely feels... Did we have a tech lab before? No, definitely not the Marauder, I don't think.
Yeah, a bit more of an aggressive opening from BenBot, not just going for the command center right away after this. And we'll see if it can apply more pressure to Xena and see if it breaks, because Xena was incredibly greedy in the early game, so we'll see if it's got the programming in it to say, hey, this pressure is too much. I need to build even more units, or not. Usually Xena is quite good at that kind of thing. However, it may be losing an Overlord here, which would be a big blow to early game defense. And there is a new bunker building up at the front. The Overlord just barely survives. That is huge for Xena to not be supply blocked. Now, there is a queen out, but this time drones do have to be pulled against these Marines. Xena's a little afraid to make that happen. And if BenBot gets this bunker up, this will be a completely different game.
Second queen coming, going after the SCV, but
it's
he's
so
not
close.
going to defend it.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
We have the one Marine again attacking the third hatchery, as Xena is facing this head-on with its queens on the front lines. One queen is rather injured. Drones being pulled to help buffer for this. It's fighting over a bunker that isn't going to be complete, at least until another SCV gets across the map. Now Lings are being produced by Xena to try and handle this. The bunker is soaking a lot of damage despite not being done.
Yeah, it's weirdly serving its purpose as if it was
Oh.
done.
And there's an SCV rolling on up, so the bunker will finish. The SCV dies, though, so this bunker will get close to burning down quite quickly. Xena does a good job committing on top of this. And Queen is trying to respond to the little bit of a threat at the third base. I'm not sure how much health that third lost, but the bunker will go down soon.
Yeah, we'll just slowly burn down here, but still a decent-sized force that is here, bunker or not.
Yeah, Xena just defending with Lings and Queens for now. Speed is done, so the Lings will be a much better option for defending this, and it is reacting by building more Lings in the face of this aggression. There is also a lair building at that third base that does give the hatchery more health, so it can soak more damage. We do have the stream freezing a little bit.
Yeah, we do a bit. And yeah, that layer's a little bit of a double-edged sword, which is, yes, it's helping that survive, but it's also now you need it to survive because your investment is in it.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're not seeing the progression here. I mean, it looks, at least from this freeze frame, that it's going to get cleaned up. And yeah, certainly looks like it.
Okay. Yeah, so Xena does hold on. And that is just incredible programming by Xena to make enough units to defend that. Like, there wasn't any major micro derps or anything for the most part there. And yeah, seems to be doing fine from this freeze frame anyway.
Yeah. We're just going to check in with the game periodically to see what is up.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Check out the water, the river in the back.
Xena must be playing too fast. It's killing the game.
Yeah. And we're going on the Rock Vendetta yet again.
Somebody stop this bot. As Xena opens up the ramp. BenBot does have its natural command center done, but it's not quickly macroing up, as it's just starting up that orbital as it produced more units prior to that in this game. Xena, meanwhile, is cool as a cucumber. It's got its fourth base on the way after holding that bout of early aggression, and it will probably just build up to doing the same thing. BenBot runs a Widow Mine across the map. This is something that BenBot has tried to do in the past, which is return the favor and actually block Zerg expansions with the Widow Mine. It does get a really nice shot there.
Yeah, good blast, barely getting down. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting way to go. It will if it has that bunker long enough, it will eventually usually send a Widow Mine to the forward position too. But yeah, interesting spot. And it's where it burrowed, which I don't think it really picked on purpose. that one goes down.
Yeah.
But that's in a really deadly spot, potentially.
Okay, we do have Xena pumping out those drones once again. So we saw last game it got up to about 90 drones before just maxing out and attacking.
Things going off to the side. Are they going to come close enough? See, they're in that second ramp. It'll be funny if they go for that Widow Mine in the range of the other Widow Mine. Not too bad. And yeah, BenBot just trying to get up to what it wants to. It has a bigger army this time, but Xena's economy, 82 workers already.
Yeah, it's just an absolute monster. And really zergs up efficiently. Creep is already at the halfway point on the map. Now BenBot just has that fusion core on the way, so no battle cruisers done yet. And another mine goes down.
Yeah, still trying to do that is interesting. Like, I could see the first couple go take a couple base spots, but once a couple get killed, that seems like something you want to shut down. And third base being established there. double armory is coming. I think we're farther away from, where the BCs were than in the first game. But army making its way onto the map. And BenBot is reasonably sturdy in this. It's
Yeah, this is interesting that BenBot's pushing. It is playing quite bio-heavy. We do have that third base now turning into a planetary.
Yeah, it's good to control the creep here a little bit. That was a problem before, where we had very early creeped over positions. Xena still wanting to kill the remaining rocks. Doesn't like that it needs to engage armies and stuff before they're all dead.
Is that how Xena works?
I'm pretty sure.
It kills the rocks and then it runs out of rocks, so it tries to kill its opponent.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. See, it really just wants those rocks at the bottom of the ramp, but yeah.
Yeah, BenBot, you do not want to get between Xena and its rocks.
Because it doesn't care about this Hellion at all. Yeah. So in it comes the army. Really good initial positioning for BenBot here. The Ling's very quickly getting cleaned up before the rest of the army comes in. So this is quite a bit different, but there's still a lot of army supply here as it just explodes out. On top of the tanks here now, the SCV is really repairing well, but does finally drop. Nice auto turrets from the back, though. And again, planetary there. The positioning on this map really, really similar to the first game in terms of like the location of everything. There's a BC out. The neural parasite has already been researched. I haven't seen an infestor yet, but this is definitely vulnerable, and the hydras get on it as well. There's the neural from the back. And it looks like we're going to get the same sort of overwhelmed behavior. The planetary putting in a lot of work, but its days are eventually numbered here.
Yeah, the planetaries are very strong, but unfortunately not enough to take down a 200 maxed out Zerg army.
Yeah, does break through. So that will be it, and BenBot is going to end up falling 2-0 in this one. A little more one-sided, I think, than I would have thought, but because we got the Zerg twice.
Yeah, the Zerg dice roll really came in effectively for Xena. I think just this playstyle was super strong from it. It's macro, and hitting that timing, it looks very Eris-esque, and Eris is one of the best bots out there. So it really is tough for a bot that wants to turtle up, but slower, and max out slower than Xena. So well done by Xena, able to take the 2-1 victory in this best of 3.
Indeed. So yep, doing that quite commandingly, and we'll continue on. And probably for its own sake, we'll want to be Zerg in the semifinals and finals if possible. But those have more games, so you're going to have more variation as we get to them in the next week. And here's replays. The neural's really, really on point.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Really had them like timed out well, that the first infestors were coming right at the time that you needed them. And just good control.
And just the decision making by Xena to like have a few drones in that early game defense was, it's like, I don't know what the math is that's going on there, but it's really incredible.
Yeah, it was handled quite well. It kept looking like that one could have tipped, that like if a couple queens went down, but then the drones were like kind of absorbing enough of the shots, and just kind of BenBot was getting a little distracted too by the third base. Like units kept going over there and just firing on the hatchery for like 3 minutes and not helping. But yeah, it's hard to make those calls in the moment and control the army right. But that could have gone the other way then, but it was just handled well by Xena. And then not overreacting to it either, coming out with a big drone lead and everything, because it just made enough lanes. It didn't flood them. It just was enough to hold.
Yeah, yeah, that like the line that Xena walked playing with its macro makes me miss Zoe and Evil Zoe, which were also created by the same bot author.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah. So on to match number 4, our last of the night, to see who is the last to make it into our semis. We've got negativeZero by Zoo, is a Protoss bot, and this one is coded in Go. And as you can see, a multiple time champion in the past. Strategy is to counter the opponent based on the current game state. That makes sense as a general strategy. I'm going to do what wins given the current situation. Is fair. Weaknesses to well-timed push. Does some really well-timed pushes itself.
Yes.
Is kind of the key to it, but I guess you can get counter-timed on that sort of thing. And marked other on the decision-making model, uses AI to review the code and make a summary for me. I wouldn't say it's special, but this is the response, and hopefully it does a better job explaining than I can. Weighted decision-making appears in several forms. Target selection, enemy. Oh, okay, I'm followed this. So it asked an AI to describe what it does. Then it lists it below, and then we have it cut off. So it does target selection of enemy units are scored based on weighted factors like damage. So it's one of the ones, a few bots do kind of do this now more, but it's something that I've always kind of called out from the start. Knowing to prioritize something like a tank or a bunker, like specific units that are controlling space or doing a lot, often they don't get prioritized. Things just kind of literally get killed based on what's in front of me. So having the ability to do that is great. One of the bigger ones, 158 files and 56,000 lines of code. I think still half of tier, but bigger than a lot of our, hundreds of times bigger than our smallest bots.
Yes. Code, much like APM, doesn't equate to
yes.
the success of the bot or the player, as there's like, you can have simple programming that goes further than the most complicated bot in the world.
Yeah.
So now we've got Caninana by Ratosh, a very good late game Zerg bot, adapts to the game, tries to survive early based on scout information and play with mid/late game spellcasters. And yeah, it is very good if it does get to that late game. Weak against strong timing attacks. I agree with that. It's funny that both bot authors put that as their weakness. Follows a single optimized opening until the first expansion, built entirely from scratch in Rust. It features unit clustering for efficient control, combat simulation for tactical decision making, advanced pathfinding for unit movement, priority-based production queue for resource management. And yes, it does all those things and quite well. It's the only Rust bot to frequently qualify to ProBots. No frameworks used. This version is capable of using lurkers.
Yeah, lurkers definitely an interesting one as well when they are called into play, as they can be confusing to bots for sure.
Okay, well, game number 1 is going to be on Interloper, and I think we're ready to hop on into that. So let's take one last look at us and then get into the game. Okay.
-0. Caninana.
You know, I didn't know that Caninana was a snake.
Yeah, apparently.
A tropical chicken snake.
Watch your chickens. Watch your chickens. I think we had Ratosh on early on in this, in like post-bots show, and he was yeah, gave us the word origin.
Okay. Okay, so we do have Caninana sending in that classic Ling Scout. -0 does assign a probe or two to chase after it until that adept pops out. And then we do get a Stargate on the way, which Caninana promptly scouts. So that is good information. It will probably build spore crawlers at some point soon. It may wait to see the unit before it builds those, but Caninana is also a bot that in detail tags everything it sees and everything it's going to build.
Yeah. Good call. Yeah, it's good to keep track of these things, for sure. And it's getting a Roach Warren and Burrow itself. And we've got the Oracle on the way. -0, one of the few bots that can make actual use out of an Oracle. In some cases, they can be a really derpy unit just because, like, attacking with them doesn't do anything. You have to turn the beam on and, like, control it in a certain way.
Yeah, there's a lot more management than a conventional unit. And we do have Ling in the main base of -0 doing a job in that it's denying 2 probes from mining as they chase after it. So that scouting is good. However, the doorman does kill that Ling, I believe. Yeah, -0, I think that is an area that it might have had some improvement, the use of the oracles lately. And it does do a fairly decent job, not so much on the harassing and killing workers, but it uses them for revelation. It does use them for base defense and defending units that are out on the map if they, say, get surrounded. So they're a very powerful tool that I think we'll definitely see more of as these bots continue to be developed.
Yeah, I think so. We saw a lot of people used to try and use them for the early harass, and then found that they would have them alive after they accomplished nothing, and then started to use them more for the stasis traps and the revelations and things like that.
Yeah, they really are powerful units. Like, it can't be understated just how difficult it is to program these bots. These bots are all projects of passion by the developers, and like programming something like an Oracle is just a ginormous challenge, as oftentimes when they are trying to harass, particularly in the PvZ matchup, there is always a hostile unit, a queen nearby, so you've got to somehow make that Oracle ignore the presence of something that is going to kill it, and then still try and get workers without the Oracle dying every time. It's just incredibly difficult. We do have -0 going for an early game push now with that Oracle in tow, ready to maybe use its pulsar beam to help out these stalkers. A Void Ray is coming as well. Caninana could be in a little bit of trouble. It's got Lings to defend. The Queens will be very important here.
Yeah, trying to get into a good position. Not a huge number of stalkers or anything like that. Maybe just totally backing off.
Yeah, so -0 does change its mind. That's one of the things that is very impressive about -0. It seems that pretty much none of its decision making or timings is hard coded. It just has weights based on what the bot author has said as far as how it decides to do things. So when it moves out, it does change its mind. It's constantly collecting information based on what it sees. And yeah, it's a very impressive bot. The bot author actually posted a write-up in my Discord on how it works, and it's very, very cool.
Yeah, we're getting a little bit of the frame lag and stuff here again, but it looks like -0 kind of regrouping, throwing in some more units as well, including Immortals.
Yeah. We have that hallucinated Phoenix scouting out as well, getting that information so it can adjust its decision making. There is quite a ground army for the Protoss bot, and -0 is probably the bot that does the most with the least amount of units, the way it engages and just constantly skirmishes without losing the Protoss units so they can regen shields. It is so impressive.
Yeah, we're now getting the Zealot speed as well as a potential switch into Colossus in a little while, which could be pretty good against the army that Caninana currently appears to have.
Yeah. Caninana will have to tech further if it wants to take on a potential Protoss Death Ball down the line, but it has no problem doing that, as we do have that infestation pit on the way for infestors. They can neural, they can fungal, and then Caninana is just constantly keeping eyes on its opponent. These Overseers are probably... Caninana has got the most extensive use of Overseers. Just their speed to deliver constant scouting is very cool. It's costly, make no mistake, but like it's just keeping constant eyes on negativeZero's army, and these cannot be killed easily.
Yeah, they're just too quick, run away, kind of bait the army out a little bit and have to walk it back.
Yeah,
and then change things constantly too.
It's really because those Overseers have pretty much, I don't know how to describe it, it's basically infinite acceleration, so they're just hitting speed as soon as they turn around. And so they get away all the time. Now, negativeZero does have that Colossi on the way. It's got a Robo, extended thermal lance. I did see a comment the other day as well that pretty much every bot author, just if they see a Colossus, they assume it has extended thermal lance.
Yeah, pretty much everyone will always get it. It's kind of the main goal of having it. Usually the lance is done before the Colossus is even out.
Yeah. Okay, now negativeZero is maxing out slightly quicker than Caninana. However, both these bots are on a very high economy, very good army. negativeZero is fighting with just a portion of its army, absorbing some of the Zerg units as it baits Caninana forward. We do have the Protoss building up to quite a force, though, as these bots are now skirmishing in the middle of the map. Revelation gets dropped, and negativeZero wants to push forward, but this is Interloper. These choke points are killer on this map. The bot that tries to attack through these is in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I think needs to have the Colossus meet up with the army here before making any move.
Yeah, the Colossi definitely will help out. And we do see some Hydras. They try and path their way to safety after coming through that choke point, but there is no escape, so that is another difficulty of the map. Interloper, we do have the Colossi coming forward. We'll see if negativeZero can actually push through this choke point, as the Hydras have a really, really nice concave. But that Colossi is getting off some big, big swipes. There's Protoss reinforcements coming. Supplies are neck and neck for these two bots, but the hatchery is being poked.
Yeah, now that he's through the choke, it is a little bit better.
That's not good. Caninana goes for a big, big drone transfer to this base, right as negativeZero's army is there. So it actually loses around 10 workers. The Zerg will move forward, trying to dive on top of this Protoss army. However, it has lost quite a bit of supply. negativeZero has lost a fair bit too, but the real damage was done to the Zerg.
Yeah, taking out the base. The couple of mortals mixed in really helped in taking the actual building out. And then can just retreat in good order, losing basically one Colossus and a few gateway units. But for the base, that is a good trade. It's always funny when there's a single choke point out and something gets stuck in like the corner and they can't kind of correct to get to the way out. It's like a it's like a fly trapped on the wrong side of a window.
This is why you kill the rocks, right?
Yeah, exactly.
negativeZero is maxed out. It has given Caninana quite a bit of time to breathe. We see that lurker den on the way. There is infestors being produced now. But they definitely will need some time to build up energy, potentially get neurals off, fungal growths, that kind of thing. These two bots are sort of splitting their army as well as negativeZero pokes through the front. They're skirmishing to the north. And then we do have these Immortals and the Colossi getting some big swipes off.
Yeah, a few Colossus, few Immortals with Zealots in front of them until recently is really good. Particularly if you're then trying to bait someone into a choke point as you retreat.
Yeah. We do see Revelations going down on this Zerg army to prevent it just from burrowing and escaping. The pathing on Interloper really is something special. Those negativeZero's army is just strung out. And yes, let's see. The Protoss army does eventually get it together and push on in. Caninana is on the retreat. It's got some lurkers in the mix. It's got lots of queens for transfuse, some infestors there, but this hatchery will be shut down once more as negativeZero is maxed out. A random Colossi walking forward, hitting a base, denying mining is a big deal. And Caninana's supply is falling as the Protoss is seemingly just going for the throat here, walking on up towards the natural. There's a fungal hitting some of these immortals, but this Protoss army is so stacked.
Yeah, it kind of formed itself into a death ball from 2 or 3 different parts here. And yeah, now kind of re-splitting again. But each component of this is a completely functional unit. I mean, a Colossus is sometimes fine by itself. But yeah, now getting into the natural.
And yes, Caninana will indeed fall here to negativeZero in game number 1. My prediction may have been wrong, but not yet. As negativeZero does look very, very good here.
Yeah, and just look at the sheer number of little skirmishes around the map. There's just parts of negativeZero everywhere, engaging different spots. So yeah, kind of funny to have like the composition of a death ball, but never really hit the death ball togetherness, basically.
Yeah, and that's what negativeZero does quite well. It decides what its units are going to do all independently based off what they see, what they're around.
Yeah.
And that means that it can sort of split its army up and just walk a random Colossi into a base because it's like, hey, there's nothing here.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, as long as there's no threat, you can do that. And usually, and particularly on a map like that, you can usually escape by walking over a cliff, like whatever you need to do to get out of there. And then Caninana did try and go into Infestor, and I think that was something, but yeah, never quite get anything going. And the army was pretty squishy to a bunch of Colossus.
okay, so we have our second map picked out. It's going to be Ephemeron between these two, which is a very, very good map. And yeah, we'll just see if Caninana can maybe speed it up a little bit as far as its macro in order to like not be caught out by negativeZero. It lost that base before it had the infestors.
Yeah.
It just was a little too slow in handling that, and yeah, that's negativeZero is just so difficult to crack. It is such a good bot.
Yeah, it knew to call off its own attacks early too, so that it wasn't vulnerable. Because I mean, it didn't open anything like that. It opened with Stargate and everything, and that didn't really accomplish much. But then that becomes support for later. But there should be an interim period of time where then you're vulnerable because that didn't work and you're switching. But negativeZero was fine during that time, and Caninana didn't really seize on it to get anything done. So we'll see this time around, maybe get more. Caninana tends to open pretty similar, but it can make a lot of decisions after that. Will negativeZero switch, or are we going to get a copy of the same thing? We shall find out in game number 2.
Okay, let's get into it.
-0. Caninana.
negativeZero getting the scout off, confirms the hatchery coming down.
Yeah, as it does, we see the very cool pathing around the base. Just getting all that information and firing up its own Nexus and Cybercore back at home.
Indeed. Ling's out. We'll take a poke at the Proby here and
Oh.
ultimately take it out. That seems a little odd. As it just kind of doubled back on itself, but Lings will move across to scout themselves. And the real tale will be if a Stargate comes as soon as the Cybercore is finished.
Yeah, I mean, it does sometimes go robo, I think, but we do get a Stargate, which is very cool to see.
Yeah,
Oh, nice actually
good trap.
cornering.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is really good for -0. These probes still have the taste for blood though, and they
Yeah.
actually try to kill the Overlord,
That's
which
that's
is
not,
not
gonna work,
ideal. That's
unfortunately.
actually a lot of resources lost for nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, that is strange.
That is quite comical. I wonder if there's a reset or something on these. And the Adept, though, does manage to grab yet another Ling. Caninana likes to send out these scouting Lings consistently, but so far that scout has been denied quite effectively by -0.
Adept will try and sneak in behind here, maybe pick off a drone. Spreading its fire a tiny bit.
Yeah, that Adept does get cornered and killed, so that's really nice for Caninana.
Yeah, Ling's up front, taken out by the Zealot. The two probes kind of stopped following the Overlord, but they're still just chilling.
-0 actually almost completes that pylon there upon seeing the Lings and hunkers down quite defensively with 2 batteries on the way. So it saw something from Caninana that really spooked it.
Yeah, I think it almost maybe is overreacting to the Lings that were produced to kill the Adept or something. And maybe misinterprets that as this is a Ling flood or something. But yeah, interesting at least. Oracle out and Void Ray on the way. This may then result, if it's on its back foot, it may not push out with this at all, unlike in the first game.
Yes, that is true. This is already quite a deviation, which is interesting just based off the scouting changes and that kind of thing. Now, I mean, having 2 batteries at your natural is never really a bad thing, but it's still quite an investment. That little bit of probe glitching could give Caninana the sort of wiggle room it needs in order to just get slightly ahead and outpace -0.
Yeah, I think we do need more drones for Caninana, though, because even with that, -0 actually has the worker lead, which it generally should not.
Yeah, this is a big trait of Caninana. Now, we do have -0 going for a Robo, a Forge already, so no third base just yet. An extra gateway on the way. Caninana has invested in a big army.
Yeah, so it may be able to, like, swarm this and shut it down quick. But yeah, again, -0, like you said, is almost pre-transitioned before even determining that this won't really work.
Yeah, which is definitely good because this is quite a risky push. The Oracle hasn't activated its pulsar beam yet either, but its presence is enough to scare the Lings away from the army of -0. This will buy -0 a retreat to safety.
Yeah. Yeah, the first engagement happening right on that ramp certainly saved -0's gateway units. Now the third about halfway done. And a Hydroden coming at the same time that we're mid-switch towards the Colossus. And a Revelation on the rock, keeping an eye on them. Just in case Xena tries to sneak into this game and kill them. And it is always interesting, the bot's reaction to air units, because while it can't, like, void rays don't do a very good job of like cleaning up a bunch of lings, but still the fact that they're untouchable is almost like psychologically damaging, to have that above your army, and it will cause you to kind of retreat away, or try and escape from it, even when you probably should continue fighting what you're going to. And the Oracle, even not being on, has basically the same impact, because it could be on, in which case it would kill you quickly. But all that sort of thing, like, it's often like fear level of certain units that that determines a lot of behavior. And we get the army kind of massing up. I think we were basically at one Colossus when it pushed out a little before. A notable difference in this one is it feels like the creep is less advanced as well, like quite a bit, than game one.
Yeah, the Zerg's position looks like
Much more
it's
penned in.
interesting because
Yeah.
the creep is pushing out, but then we've got that base coming up towards here on Ephemeron, the southern base, which is very exposed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I
And-
think the initial fighting, like with the Colossus and everything, was on negativeZero's side of the map. That's not really going to be the case this time. It doesn't feel like.
Yes, like, yeah, negativeZero is getting up to 4 bases, but it's much more hunkered down. It is looking to go for a move out here. Caninana does have that neural parasite on the way, but the Protoss does decide to turn around, which is possibly the wise decision, as, I mean, Caninana sees that this is coming, and negativeZero is still building up its force. It's 30 supply away from being maxed out.
Yeah, definitely on the verge of the push. We're almost done +2.
Yeah, we do have a nice little bit of static defense at negativeZero's 4th base as well. That's just a little touch. The Protoss does decide to move out. It's already splitting up its army like it does sometimes. We've got 2 Void Rays randomly coming from the north towards this 4th base of Caninana. The Protoss has the rest of its forces, I think, on the right of this. Adept shading all over the place as Caninana is trying to pin this down, but how do you pin down a bot that moves every single unit individually? And the answer is not easily, but it does seem there is enough Zerg to actually prevent itself from real damage.
Yeah, that could have been worse there had the Zealots on the left really committed to something, and even just tried to snipe the hatchery right down. I think they would have had potentially time. Colossus-based army fighting in the middle here, and there's just not enough bulk for Zerg to make progress.
No, oftentimes Defender's advantage does really play into which bot takes the better fight.
Yeah.
So we do sometimes see that swing back and forth, because now negativeZero's on the defensive. It can just retreat as Caninana pushes forward, and that's where the Protoss army gets a lot of really good trades. Now, Caninana is moving in, but negativeZero does have a 5th base wisely building not where Caninana is attacking. And then the Protoss does manage to hold off that bit of a counter swing.
Yeah, and being able to fall back to those shield batteries too, which are now in 2 different locations, the natural and the 4th base, is both nice. Not that he was even taking all that much damage to begin with. Now, pushing down the middle.
Yeah, negativeZero is moving out once again. It's got an observer to clean up these million creep tumors. However, it is pushing out minus a few units. Supply says 200, but there's 4 gateway units in production right now, so they are not with this army. So it's missing a couple of Colossus, missing a couple of Mortals, and now negativeZero pokes forward. It's trying to bait Caninana into that bad fight almost, just as the units are naturally moving back as Caninana comes forward. But negativeZero is trying to push on in towards this natural. It's a nice defensive position for the Zerg. I think we need to see a fungal or something on this ramp. There is a Neural grabbing an Immortal. There's the fungal on the ramp.
Yeah, I mean, decent making them pay to get up there, but now we're in a backed up position. And in the meantime, that fourth base is under attack as well from the sides. We've just been blinking there for quite a while. So the disjointed army attack's really helping. And this is just a lot of Immortals.
Yeah, this is negative. This is the backbone of negativeZero's army. These things are so difficult for a bot to kill because they really require a commitment to bring down. And now it does seem that negativeZero has been able to break Caninana. It's not just this push, though. That fourth base has been killed while this was going on just by a subsection of negativeZero's army, which is something that it's always doing so well. And that's also hitting towards the 12 o'clock position. So negativeZero is able to bring down Caninana in the 2-0. I should never have doubted it. I apologize for my heinous prediction.
Indeed. It's it's these little divisions of armies. Every little group has a Colossus supervising them.
Yeah.
And then they're totally fine on
exactly, yeah. And it's not like it's just like a couple Marines. It's a beefy unit, like a Colossi with some support that you can't just send like 1 or 2 units to deal with. They really require a solid answer. Yeah. And that's where negativeZero succeeds, because bots have a difficult time handling that. Yeah. And we do get negativeZero cleaning everything up here as it pushes on into the main.
Yeah, cleaning this up, and yeah, I like the disruptors coming in at the very end to not even help, because nothing's alive.
And so, as I was saying, man, that was a intense game.
It definitely was. It it looked close in parts, but like you called before the game, negativeZero, once it gets control, it's doesn't really let go of it. So Caninana just could never muster anything to really make a decisive push, and negativeZero is so good at just fading back, and anytime it tried to get aggressive, just kind of absorb it. And Colossus are almost the perfect unit for doing that.
And so, like, what was our predictions again? We're on opposite sides, if I remember?
Yeah, I think I said negative. Both of us predicted a 2-1 though. You predicted the 2-1 for Caninana. I thought maybe 2-1 for negativeZero, negative 2-1. But yeah, it turns out to be the dominant performance. Even though the opening of the Stargate didn't really get anything done in either of the games, it's still, those units were useful still later, with the Revelations in particular. But so it could have even got to where it got to faster, I think. But it was all useful in the end.
I think overall, though, I think negativeZero's composition is what won the day. I think negativeZero had a Colossus with the Immortal. I just wasn't seeing it from Caninana putting something else that in the window to take him on, because those Colossus really, I just have to say, when against Hydra, against the Roaches, and then also he took really great engagements in some of the best spots against Caninana.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of the type of thing you want to close in. You need to close in on that sort of army to get it, to get any damage done to it. But as you start to close in, the Colossus gets more and more efficient as it hits more and more units. So you want to be, ideally, you want to be in this spread anti-AoE position, but you can't then do any damage. As you were saying, like Immortals, you need to commit to them. So just doing a little bit of damage to Immortal doesn't mean anything. It's going to refresh its barrier. It's going to be, constantly alive. So you need to know you're committing. And that's something AI in general has a really hard time doing, is making a decision. Like, I'm going to go through a lot of fire to get to a point that I can then do damage. That's a tough decision to make. And it's, of course, it's always based on where you are right now. The fact that if people could just retreat, you think, okay, 5 seconds walk that way and I'm at this, but it walks the other way. So it's hard to play that out.
I want to see if we might get some replays of those games. But one of the things that came up to my mind was, I don't know, have we seen Any any bots doing yoinks
with the Colossus.
no
Like
well
with the
with
Vipers, you
with the
mean,
yeah.
to take them? Yeah. I think we have. Usually, this is not as many people use Colossus as you think should. So
Yeah.
we've definitely seen yoinks on like the Tempests and battle cruisers and
Yes, Tempest.
stuff like that. That's more common.
Anti-Tempest
Yeah,
era is when we saw. I remember. I
yeah,
think we did see them in the Tempest era,
yeah,
but
yeah. So they're there, but I think it's kind of a yeah. You end up with this spot with Colossus again because of the range problem.
yeah,
They're really far away, and then you want to close to get them, but you're in
damage.
the Void Ray fire,
Yeah.
you're in the Stalker fire,
Yeah,
you're in fire of other things to get to that point, so it becomes kind of a deterrent.
yeah.
To
Especially
doing
how
it that way.
tepid some of these bots can be, or how
Yeah.
these bot authors will program the bots to be a little
Exactly.
tepid.
Even with
Getting
infestors, you saw like infestors were there with neuros, but they were neuroling the immortals
yeah,
because they're closer. They couldn't get.
they felt
to-
safer to
yeah.
get than to go into the deep. Oh, were they burrowed?
I think they were. Yeah, it was hard to see, but yeah, I think
Yeah.
they were birds enduring it. Yeah, but even then, you've got the revelations everywhere. So even if they're burrowed, they might
Yes,
be
that's
visible,
true.
and then you're
Really beautiful on those
Yeah.
revelations. I'm really impressed. negativeZero, like you mentioned earlier, is one of the few bots that will use an Oracle effectively. I remember where we were kind of counting down the amount of times of Oracles died
Yeah.
without doing anything.
Yeah.
And we're now at a point where Oracles are a really strong part of the bot. Well, I would say
Yeah.
negativeZero. Then we have SharkBot, who also kind of uses them fairly well.
yeah.
Maybe one of the first ones to use them fairly well.
Sharkbot still at least tries to get in and do something. Like these
Yeah.
ones are made purely
Support, like,
for support. Like
Yeah.
they never attempt to get into the mineral line or anything like that.
which is a shame because negativeZero is a really aggressive.
Probably
bot.
could do it. Yeah.
He's really aggressive. Like I feel like negativeZero goes out for moves out to attack and commits to attack more than any bot. I think.
Yeah.
Because most bots especially Eris or the Eris consortium are really defensive. They're passive. Ketroc passive. I actually don't know another bot that's as aggressive.
Probably MicroMachine.
MicroMachine, yes. MicroMachine. But even MicroMachine has his window of opportunity where he's a little bit,
It knows as if it's being attacked,
Yeah.
basically. But yeah, but
and
other
it'll
than that,
counterattack too.
well, it's
It'll
kind of like I
counterattack.
mentioned in those games. MicroMachine either has I don't have enough to attack. It just has an on or off switch.
Yeah.
It doesn't have like a timing mechanic. It's either attacking or it's not. But basically, if there's not a reason to turn the switch off, it's attacking.
Yeah, and negativeZero on the different than the other bots. negativeZero is like, I'm gonna press you. I'm gonna press upon you, and if I can't win, I'm gonna come back and I'll be back shortly.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of negativeZero's secret sauces is that it is it'll press on when most bots aren't ready to be pressed.
Yeah.
So obviously Caninana was still ready to absorb that, but I don't think most bot authors are programmed. They're ready for cheese, but not like a frontal assault, early frontal assault. And I think negativeZero really is able to capitalize. Like it must be some way how I think my alternate Earth self had said that there's a weighting to how he decides whether or not when to attack, and there some way in that weighting must be how he must wait that I have the advantage. I must press. So
yeah,
very well done for negativeZero.
Exactly.
Why don't we take a look at the brackets and see how we did tonight?
Yep. So we kicked things off with the Ketroc 2-1 against MicroMachine. That was a really good one. And then Zozo, perhaps surprisingly, taking out Changeling with two
Crazy
pretty
upset.
brutal cheeses. Even including one against the Eris version of Changeling. So we'll have a Ketroc Zozo match in the semifinals. I'm curious how Ketroc will deal with that sort of potential cheese. Then we had Xena taking out BenBot pretty commandingly too. Happened to roll Zerg twice and just hit really strong 200 supply max outs, and then followed by full aggression. and really good infestor control there too to counter the battle cruisers. And then just saw negativeZero really walk some Colossus legs over top of Caninana.
And I want to say things like I don't think anyone can take away from Zozo's 2-0 because he did play against the Eris variant of Changeling, and yes, it's cheesy, but that's part of the game, and I think he should be very proud because Eris has been a dominant force in the ProBots tournament for years. So this might be the earliest Eris has been knocked out.
Possibly. Yeah. And even though it's not Eris, it probably is. Yeah, the first like round of 8 knockout.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess it's going to come to a testament whether or not Team Eris will continue to sort of tweak the changeling, or will they just decide, okay, well, we'll just go back to Eris. So we'll see.
Possible. I guess you'd have to program in. That's another thing, just with random. Like, it means if you've got a cheese defense, you're going to have to code it 3 times. 3 different strategies that will block that, which you could do. It's just is that worth your time? But I guess since they're managing, even though they'll submit one, they were always working on all 3 anyway.
True.
So they're still doing it, and I think too, once you've had that success, is it more fun to try and win this way than it is to just submit Eris again and win again?
Yeah. This is probably more fun for them.
Yeah,
absolutely. Okay, so that was our night, and man, what a night it was! A lot of upsets, a lot of tops, a lot of I would say a little bit unpredictability, but then next week we will be back with the semi-finals, and then after that we'll have the finals, and with humans versus ProBots. We've actually already sent it out. We actually have a bit more time, so hopefully we're going to get a lot of you playing those. So actually keep an eye out for our message if you're following on the channel. There'll be a post so that you can get your hands on the bots yourselves and you can play and submit it for us to cast. Some of the bot authors have been prepping. I've been seeing the chats. They've been talking about how to prep and how to prepare to be dealing. I think one of the big key things that's been stopping some people, especially Ketroc, is this new patch has been problematic. So especially with cyclones. So I believe since he's on Java by himself in an island of Java, he has found there's a bug that he can't quite fix. So we'll see. Obviously you mentioned in 2 of the ProBots, he's mentioned about being ready for human versus ProBots. So we'll see if this is the lucky time. But if not, you guys can still play against the other bots. We'll actually be showing it next week to get for you guys to get your hands on them. So it'll be a good time.
Indeed.
So you guys can definitely follow me at Laughing Games. Oh yeah. But no, Laughing Games had to bow out. But you still have us here.
Still would have been funnier if you just never said anything.
I know, you know what? But I thought, you know what?
Oh, you're too cautious, Draken.
I'm too cautious. You know what? I'm the one who has to filter through these messages. Some of them don't. You gotta
learn to engagement farm better.
You're right. I'm too soft on that. I'm not a. I should be more of an engagement farmer and just troll the. We kept it up long enough. I think a lot of people they're already. If they didn't for the first seconds.
That is true. The people that you catch with engagement farms don't watch the whole video. That's usually the case. It's people that watch 30 seconds and be like, "This opinion is stupid," and that was like their devil's advocate.
Whoever you are who always dislikes ProBots every time before it even starts. I don't worry. I know you. I've seen you.
Exactly.
There's definitely a chronic hater out there somewhere. It's probably someone from Reddit, but absolutely. So like I've always said, goes super easy to get this started. 30 minutes, you get your own bot up and running. And then I have a Zerg Rush guide for you. One of the things that we're working on internally, and I'm working on week to week, is that I'm going to be adding, really exploring machine learning. We had a pretty good discussion about where does machine learning with these bots go. So I have made it my personal mission to add machine learning to this to PigBot. So if you're here on Mondays, you'll get to see as we see how we can add machine learning. It'll be fairly simple, this implementation, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So you make sure you guys keep an eye on that. And then absolutely. And I got a lot of cool stuff coming down the pipeline. So you have to subscribe to get that content. So absolutely. Anderson, any final words before we
Nope, just I think we're in for good ones in the semifinals. Longer format, best of 5.
Yep, best
so
of
the
5.
The random bots in particular will be interesting in that.
Yeah, absolutely. So the best of 5. Once upon a time, a long time ago, ProBots, people thought best of 5 with bots was not a good idea. Yeah, but these bots have surely showed that it actually changes the outcome. Maps make a big difference, especially in the rotations. The vetoes actually become a little bit less relevant as we go, because the map pool gets used up. So some of these, I would say, constantly vetoed maps become in play. So there are some maps that actually get vetoed by every bot author. I can't think of the one off my head, but bot authors that do submit vetoes always submit vetoes against these particular maps. So they'll soon be into play, and we'll see actually what they've been afraid of all this time. So. Cool.
Indeed.
All right. Awesome, everybody. We'll see you guys next week here at the same ProBots time, same ProBots channel. And if you haven't done all the good stuff we talked about before earlier, like subscribe to all that stuff, you know what to do. If you're at the end of this video and you've watched the full thing, you've already done it. And I'm happy for you. So other than that, we'll see you guys next week here on ProBots. Happy coding, everybody.